hose way. Roll at my own pace, like a rock star. Got to make the hose way. Roll at my own pace. I cut with precision. Got to make the roll at my own pace, like a rock star. Mirror, mirror, on the wall. Who is the flyest one of all? Mirror, 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 on the wall. Who is the flyest one of all?
Alright, welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always my co-host, the one, the only King, Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I was just, I forgot a whole bunch of things for the podcast, for the visuals, but we got through it. We got through it just fine. Bucho and everybody out there, thanks for joining us on this Halloween, spooky Halloween night. And this is what the show is gonna be all about. We're gonna talk a little boxing maybe at the beginning, depending on what we do, and then it's gonna be a loose format. We're gonna talk about anything. It's gonna be like a second Renaissance show. If you've never seen a second Renaissance show, you're gonna get a little bit of taste of what it is. Not a lot of boxing. Just a bunch of conspiracy theories, mysteries, anything paranormal really. So if you guys out there in the chat room have any suggestions, anything you want to suggest, anything you want to talk about before the hangout gets all full and we can't get a word in edgewise, why don't you give us your thoughts on the paranormal. Want to give a shout out to Nico Paz. Haven't seen him in a while, I don't think. Lion Bar, Michael Stock, Azzy. Many more to come, I'm sure. So guys, thanks again for joining us. Bucho, let's get this out of the way. Just a little bit of boxing to start things off. This weekend, we are going to be having, via the Zone, by the way, your application that you have paid for and that I am mooching off of. There's going to be Josh Taylor taking on Ryan Martin for the Super Series quarterfinals, the junior welterweight division. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Maybe not a great fight in terms of action, but I certainly think you're going to see Josh Taylor. Everybody wants to see him fight. There's a big question mark on him. He did beat Victor Postol, and I know people on this Hangout, Bucho, are divided on how good Postol really is, but I was impressed with Josh Taylor. He stood up to the firepower, really. I think it's the type of fight that a young fighter can learn from. And of course, we also have Ryan Burnett taking on Nonito Donaire. I'm going to talk a little bit about that more as well. Victor Postol, the aforementioned Ukrainian, is also going to be fighting on the undercard. Then you have ESPN Plus, Miguel Berchelt versus Miguel Miki Roman. Butcher, the last time we thought that Berchelt was going to be in an all-action fight was when he took on Miura, and he turned boxer and stunk the joint out. I am sorry to say. Yes, he was smart. You always want to see a boxer do the right thing, but do you expect a war for this one, or do you think Berchelt is going to try to throw a wrench in the works again?
I don't know. It depends if is Berchelt done or is he still... Because he seems to be pretty much finished by now. Well,
I think you're confusing... Bucho, I think you're confusing Berchelt with Francisco Vargas.
Oh, fuck, yeah, man. Sorry, I'm kind of sick, man.
You're kind of sick.
Yeah, Berchelt. No, Berchelt's looking good still.
Are you saying sick? Are you sick mentally or physically?
Oh, I'm sick in a lot of ways, man.
You sick bastard. You're a sick fuck. Who let you at the home?
What's up?
You want me to come in? We start over again, Mike?
Come on, what's going on, Bucho? Not a great start to the Halloween special, I gotta tell you. Anyway, forget about it. Listen, we got that fight. Then, of course, Sullivan Barrera taking on Shawnee Monahan. via Facebook Watch. Monahan, he's like a doorman turned boxer. Sorry about that. I had my Jim Lampley moment there. Monahan is really a doorman. He's a bouncer turned boxer. And you remember, Adonis Stevenson was supposed to fight him at one point. As he was like the mandatory or the what do they call him? The voluntary defense. And of course, that fight didn't take place. And you're gonna see that he did not deserve to be anywhere near a top light heavyweight matchup. And you're gonna see it against Sullivan Barrera. By the way, didn't Sean? This guy already lost, I think. People, can somebody correct me in the chat room before I look it up? I'm looking it up right now. See if anybody can beat me to it. But yeah, he already lost. He's 37 years old. And he lost to Marcus Brown. Yes, I remember that. I was on an undercard, on a PBC undercard, I believe. And the guy got blitzed second round. Yeah, Shepherd of Sons, thanks, man. Marcus Brown whooped his ass, he says. Shout out to Virtuoso. Says, happy Halloween. Nino Gaji, you want to see some scary shit for Halloween? Look at Tank Davis' career. You know what's even scary, Nino? His Instagram page. Really, really hair-raising stuff. I gotta tell you.
I don't want your money. I just want your mouth on my big dick.
Yeah. That's the type of stuff you can expect on his Instagram page. All right. So that's what we got in terms of boxing. And I think there's a UFC card as well. Isn't Daniel Cormier guys fighting? Butcher, do you know? I bet you don't.
I don't know.
Nazarene. Daniel Cormier against that, what is his name? Derek Lewis, the guy that everybody's talking about. Is he the guy with the "My balls are hot" that it became a meme? I don't know. I don't know. All right, Butcher.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just a little thing about fucking Nonito Donaire. Maybe he can make it at 118. Maybe it helps him. Maybe it hinders him. That was a discussion we had a couple of episodes ago. What do you think? You think he's gonna? Have you ever seen Ryan Burnett fight? By the way.
No, I haven't. And I heard it's the first time that Donaire fights in that division since 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. And he how old is he? 33, 34?
35.
35.
That's right.
And in those lower weight divisions, I mean, this isn't gonna be competitive. And then
I don't know.
I was watching one of those World Boxing Super Series previews, and he was saying, like, after the Frampton fight, he realized that he wasn't supposed to be at featherweight. I'm like, man, you should have figured that out way back. Way back. He at 126, he looked just kind of, even at 122, he kind of looked flabby a bit.
He's always looked flabby, even at 118.
Yeah, but 115, 118, he didn't look like that, though.
Hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do. He's trying to make some changes. He couldn't keep up against Carl Frampton and against Diego Magdaleno. Yeah, the young guys, essentially.
Yeah.
And now he's going back to 118, trying to regain the magic. Because really, 118, 115 and 118, that's where he really shone. Or shined, I should say, 10 years ago. This ain't 10 years ago. But I tell you what, though. Ryan Burnett, he thinks it's Joe Calzaghe fighting with those hands down. If he comes in, normally guys who have their hands down can fight coming forward. I'm talking Sergio Martinez, Roy Jones. Joe Calzaghe was really the exception. He could really, I don't know, he had a good control of the distance. But if Ryan Burnett, and I've seen him fight, of course, 2 fights mainly. The one where he fought that Kazakh guy who looked Mongolian or something, he turned into John Ruiz. Holding. But of course, Nonito Donaire is not going to fight that way. He's not going to fight coming forward. So, but that left hook is still dynamite. Pucho, we've said it before. Every fight.
We said it how many times are we going to keep saying that?
No, but what I'm saying is
he
Ryan
lands
Burnett.
That left hook, and it's like, come on.
But Ryan Burnett, I don't think he's not that. He hasn't proven that he's that great either. He's unproven, is what I'm trying to say.
But he's younger, and he's not a bad boxer from what I saw the previous stuff. And I mean, yeah. Okay, he might be able to land it. That's what you're saying, because we don't know much about Burnett. I mean, I still think he won't land it. I still believe that Donaire is shot, and we're gonna be waiting for fucking 12 rounds for him to probably land that shot, and that's gonna be pretty much it. I'm not even excited about that fight. As a matter of fact, I wish Donaire would have retired.
You think you hope that he would have retired? Well, I gotta tell you,
Yeah, after the Frampton fight, that fight shouldn't even have happened. And some people were still saying, "Well, you never know if he lands that left hook." And I was like, "All right."
he did land. He landed a left uppercut.
Oh yeah, I think with an uppercut and didn't fucking even shook.
That left uppercut earned him the payday. Now listen, I gotta tell the people in the chat room a little something. Bucho is the type of guy that if a fighter has 2 bad performances and he's in his mid-30s, he should retire. There's no doubt about it for Bucho.
What do you mean 2 performances? Man?
Yeah, if you have 2 listen, who did he?
Wait,
Is he
what
losing
did he
to
do?
bombs?
He's beating Regan though.
But he's not losing to bombs, Bucho. He lost to Nicholas Walters, who's like a fucking junior welterweight. He lost to Diego Magdaleno, who ain't that bad, very quick. He lost to Carl Frampton, who is top class in my book. And
Who did Magdaleno lose to? Dog Boy.
Dog Boy, yeah.
Man, listen. I fear for his health. You know.
Come on, you're exaggerating. This guy Burnett is not a dangerous, like he's not a guy that's gonna give you a beating. He's not a come forward fighter. He's not Nicholas Walters. He's not Doug Bowie. Come on. Now let's go to the chat room. Mateus Lisa says, "But is he losing?" That's the point, BDA. I don't know if he's gonna lose. Listen, guys. You tell us in the chat room. What do you think about Ryan Burnett? You think he can pull it off against a hard punching veteran like Donito Donaire? Come on, let's be honest about it. Ryan Burnett is not exactly Joe Calzaghe here, all right? I mean, he's not. Maybe he's not even Carl Frampton. We don't even know that. And by the way, King Bucci is saying reporting. You know, what's his name? Recognize the Matrix told us to go check out that Ellie Segback video again with the Tyson Fury when he got kicked out of the gym because he said that what's his name? Segback denied being the hater, and I said, really? I hadn't heard it, and I re-listened, rewatched the video. He did say that. Tyson Fury goes, "This guy's a hater," and you can hear clearly Ellie Segback's voice saying, "No, it's not me."
That's
and
pathetic, man.
Like Recognize said, how did he know who he was talking about? Like how did he deny it right away? Because he knows he's a fucking hater. And let me tell you something. We've talked about it before, Bucho. Criticism doesn't necessarily equate to hating. You can criticize a guy's flaws and all that, but what Eli Segback does, especially for a supposed reporter, that's straight up hating right there. If anybody wants to call him a hater, I got no qualms with it. And I tell you something. Eli Segback's trying to spin this, and he's saying that, oh, now it's made me more famous, and it's gotten me a lot of views. I looked at that comment section. People are saying Tyson Fury was right, and people are making fun of Eli Segback. Now, maybe Eli Segback has a bunch of haters. Bucho, I don't know. But the ratio of guys that support him to the ones that are just shitting on him on his own comment section, not a good sign for Eli Segback, I gotta tell you.
Hey, by the way,
yes.
Try to send Stu the link because it's not working from my side on Skype.
Oh boy! All right, can you read some comments from this chat room real quick? See what
all
people
right,
are saying.
we have Michael Stock says Donaire back in the day would murder Burnett, most likely. This is a Donaire that's shot, that should be retiring. And listen, people are gonna criticize me. Well, if he wants to do it, then let him do it. Of course he can do it. I'm not saying he's not allowed to. I'm just pointing out my opinion. I think that we've seen enough. And now he's going back down in weight. He's probably going to, claim that he was drained and that's why he was stopped. He might get stopped, not because Burnett is a great fighter, just because he's younger and Donaire is cutting all that fucking weight. So we'll see. But I think it's enough. It's enough.
I got to tell you.
Gagi says he really don't want to fight Lomachenko. I guess they're talking about
Mikey.
What the hell are they talking about?
I think they're talking about Mikey. Yeah.
Has to be Mikey. It can't be Eli Segback.
Well, remember he thought he could kick Mario Lopez's ass?
I don't think so.
Have you ever seen Mario Lopez? I've seen. There's a clip of him.
No, didn't he want to? No, he wanted to fight Max Kellerman.
And Mario. Well, I don't know about Max Kellerman, but I know for a fact he wanted to fight Mario Lopez, and I've seen Mario Lopez. There's a clip of him at the wild card.
Mario, he knocks him out.
Yeah, there's a clip of him sparring at the wild card Mario
Yeah.
Lopez, that is. That guy's fucking. And there's a clip, there's that also that charity event he did with De La Hoya where they were having a bit of a sparring session. That guy's got technique. And if he wants to, he could hit it with some power. And I've seen Eli Sackback sparring. He was sparring against some other journalist, some Arabic-looking guy from the England. And the guy, the English reporter, he wasn't even boxing that well. He was just awkward. And he was schooling Eli Sackback.
Oh my god.
So
yeah, I can see Alex Sackback if he fights Mario Lopez getting knocked out like Arthur Spilka there.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine that,
Comes
man?
in swinging and gets caught behind under the ropes. Alex Sackback's a scumbag, man. Listen,
Whoa.
I used to be subscribed to his channel.
Uh-huh.
Was that you saying something? Okay. And I unsubscribed like 2 years ago, man, or 3 years ago, because the only reason why I was watching his channel was because he used to hang out at the Garcia gym the whole time, and that was so fucking funny. That was when Margarito was there. No, that was 4 years ago, I guess. Anyways, when Antonio Margarito was there, when you had Brandon Rios, and they were all cracking jokes and stuff. That was funny stuff. But besides that, man, when he said that Joe Goosen gym, it's like nobody likes him, man. And he's asking all these annoying questions. Goosen is making fun of him. It's just cringy, man. Cringy as fuck.
One of the things that made me cringe
What?
was when he went up to Robert Garcia's father, and he goes, "Who would have won between your son and Julio Cesar Chavez?" And even Robert Garcia, like the trainer, not the fight, he goes, "Come on, Ellie, what the fuck?" Like he's man enough to admit that Chavez would have wiped the floor with him. So like,
of course, man.
But he's trying to kiss ass.
Robert Garcia's father, who wins, your son or Chavez? Like what the? And then he's asking 5-year-olds, who wins, Pacquiao or Mayweather? It's like what? That 5-year-old's like drooling, can't even fucking say articulate words. Blah, blah. It's like that's great interviewing, Ellie. Seriously, I'm wasting my fucking time here. I'm wasting my fucking time. Nah, seriously, nah. And then he talks shit about other fighters, but like, and shows up. He has the balls to show up to like the Tyson Fury gym. I mean, seriously.
I don't know if that merits respect, or it just goes to show how out of the loop he really is mentally. Like he might have Asperger's or something, because somebody said that he looked like he's got there's something wrong with him, like genetically, and he might have Asperger's, because I mean, he doesn't seem to get social cues. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. All right, let's see what other people, what
has
else
to do with
people
his infancies and socialization skills. Anyways,
let's see what else people are saying in the chat. McGregor Boxing Star, sir, is there a way to get in? You mean to the Hangout? Which what's that?
No, we said no more people are coming in. That's it. I talked to Steve about it.
I've seen McGregor, but I've seen him in other in I think he was in Cameron's chat. I mean Hangout, and he's a boxing fan. He's not a
Scottish guy.
I think so, but I know he's not a troll, or at least I don't think he's. Don't prove me wrong there, McGregor. And 13-round boxing once in as well. So
who?
I mean, it's your call.
He can never get in for some reason. All right, hold on. Okay.
Yeah. That's the guy that you always. Yeah.
He's been fucking years now. Nah, not years, but it's been a few weeks now.
I know. What else are people saying? Lewis Matisse, he says. Mateus Lisi says Mario Lopez KOs Eli Sackback. Yeah, for sure. Luke Peterson says the LDBC took down Bin Laden. Yeah. They also created Western civilization, from what I heard. Nesmatic says, sup, everyone. What's up to Nesmatic? Sherpa the Sons, Luke Peterson. Nino Gadget says the LDBC is finished if Spence, Charlo, and Wilder lose. Never thought about that. What happens if those three guys lose? Listen, I've said it before. I've been watching boxing for decades before the LDBC even existed, so I don't really care whether they exist or not. Just don't pay attention. I pay attention to them every once in a while, especially Butcher, just so that he can bring up that subject here in the Hangout. Shepherd Sons is the Mayweather channel. What's that?
I'm doing some research.
Yeah, that's right. Shepherd Sons says the Mayweather channel is kind of fun. Yeah, with Roger Mayweather, that ain't bad. Shepherd Son says no, not him. Michael Stark says I need to get the badge of approval now. Nesmatic says King Butcher with that iron fist. The Shepherd Song says 13 rounds has been asking for more than a month. I don't know what's up with that. Fucking Hangouts. We gotta get rid of Hangouts because, first of all, people can't hear me. When there's more than 5 people on this fucking Hangout, it's impossible to get a word in edgewise because the host's voice somehow gets clouded over by everybody. And not to be too critical of Hangouts, but they only make updates every fucking year or so. People have complained about that for a long time. So we're gonna try Skype. Hopefully get every panelist going over there. By the way, I also sent Stu the Hangout link. And I hope it works. Butch, if you can check out if the link is correct. Hopefully we're not wasting anybody's time.
No,
Line Bars. Yeah. Okay. Line Bar says if Wilder, Spence, and Charlo lose, the LDBC will go into hibernation. Luke Peterson says Hamed's online. Good for him. Nino Gadget says Roger Mayweather. So who do you think will win, my nephew or Jesus? I recognize was saying that Roger Mayweather was ugly. And I gotta tell you, I disagree. I don't like that type of talk. I think it's demeaning.
Floyd Sr.
Well, he said both of them. And I gotta tell you, I don't appreciate that type of talk. My mother always
hating.
My mother, who was a saint, by the way, always used to say...
Can I say something about
an interview I saw from Fight News? Go ahead, interrupt me. You can't even fucking hear what I'm saying, can you?
No, I'm telling you that sound. I can hear your voice when I speak. It like drowns your voice, man. That sound.
And eat my fucking ass.
All right, that was wrong.
What are you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so guys, I was watching this interview from FightNews.com, and they were interviewing the two Charlos.
Oh boy.
And so fucking funny. Like, first of all, they're acting all weird, and they dress weird, to be honest. But that's besides the point. So someone asks them, it's like, so a lot of people think that you can beat Canelo Alvarez. A lot of people, no, most people think that you can beat Canelo Alvarez. What do you think about that fight? It's like, well, first of all, most people think that Charlo beats Canelo. I don't know how he got to that conclusion, but anyways. Charlo just goes like, Jermall goes like, yeah, I'll fight anyone. I'll beat Canelo. And then after he finishes his sentence, he walks back and then comes back. Like, I don't know. To me, it looked, maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it looked like he didn't really want that fight. And I'm going to make a video about it. So we're going to analyze that. Just giving you a heads up or what's going on.
Are you saying he might have been on something?
No, man. He kind of was, I don't know. It's like, it's one of those, how do you call it when you say something, but you look to the side when you're lying? How do you call it?
A tell. It was a tell. A tell, like a sign.
A sign, yeah. Or like unconscious move that he made.
Body language, subconscious body
language. Yes. Yeah. And he didn't want to, I don't think he wants that kind of fight. That's just my opinion. By the way, everybody always talks about, what if Canelo loses? What's going to happen to the zone? What if Charlo loses? How about that? Let's ask that question. What if Charlo loses? Because this guy's the same age as Canelo. Okay, hasn't fought anybody. He hasn't had the resume that Canelo has. What if he loses? How more lower can he get in his career?
That's a good question. Yeah, people aren't. Why is the pressure on Canelo? Like, why does it seem? Listen, you guys know that Canelo. I'm not a big fan of Canelo after everything he did, but you can't deny his skills and his resume. What has Charlo done that people think he's just gonna walk all over Canelo? The Julian Williams fight, which was good, but it was listen. Julian Williams is a 154 pounder. Canelo's a fucking 180 pounder. Oh, by the way, we managed to get someone in. We got Recognize the Matrix on the line.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
All right. Recognize it there.
That intro never gets old. I love it.
It never gets old. Unlike Nonito Donaire, who Bucho thinks should retire. All right. Recognize, first of all, we're gonna talk about we're gonna go into that fucking Halloween theme pretty soon. All right, so hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, we're gonna go into the fucking Halloween stuff. All right, but is there anything you want to say boxing related before we begin this? Shinding.
Boxing related. I don't know. Shit, I don't know. Boxing related.
Carlos, no, Jacob said that he won't fight Andrade anytime soon because they're very close friends.
You see, I don't like that shit. Who cares if they're friends, right? Like, they're in the same division. They both got straps.
I've said it before,
Unified.
man. I've said it before in in the comment section of our YouTube videos. Friends fight all the time. Throughout boxing, friends have fought all the time. I don't understand what this whole thing about, well, that Charles can't fight her. Daniel Jacobs just fought Derevchenko for Pete's sakes, and they used to be sparring partners. So what's this whole thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. They were sparring partners, and they still fought each other. Fighters, who was it that were good friends? At least they always said they were good friends. They fought 3 times. Winky Wright and Bronco McCart. They were
friends.
They were good. Winky Wright, remember Bronco McCart?
Yeah, but I didn't know they were friends.
Oh yeah.
Do you think the friendship ended? Do you think the friendship ended after McCart hit him in the balls like 15 times in that rubber match?
Not according to Winky Wright.
Really?
Yeah, I remember Winky Wright giving an interview. I don't remember exactly how long. It was a long time ago, though. And he talked about how Bronco McCart and him are still good friends. And that at that time, Bronco was going through some. I guess he was having some issues, obviously outside the ring. Mm-hmm. And there was like some drug problems or whatever. But they were good friends. Still.
See, I didn't know that. Everybody has nothing but good things to say about Winky Wright. Like, he's friends with Roy Jones. He's friends with what's his name, Tarver. He was even hanging out with Trinidad in the months after beating him. So it seems like he's a nice guy, or he's got great drugs. I don't know.
Trinidad used to invite him to his house in Puerto Rico, and when they fought each other, there was, obviously you saw the way Winky Wright was going at him. So.
Mm-hmm. Recognize when I hear that 2 fighters are friends, they weren't friends before and then they become friends after a fight, it's either because they like each other or they like each other's wife and they're into that swingers lifestyle, like we talked about last episode. What do you think?
There's a good, yeah.
High possibility.
That chance, right?
That's right. And people were saying they wanted to hear more about official boxing scorecards adventures in the French, what was it? The French Alps? Or where was he going to? Some fucking whorehouse?
He was going to a swing club.
The swing club, yes.
Yeah, where people exchange girls or something. Yeah, I think something to that effect.
Yeah, I think there was more to that story than he let on. But by the way, Bucho was talking about that. Sorry, we got off on a tangent here. Bucho was talking about Charlo. Did you watch the video he's talking about? Recognize?
No, I haven't watched it.
Bucho thinks he sees something in Charlo, like body language that's descriptive or, indicative of a guy that doesn't really want to fight.
Well, he might want to fight him, but he's not that convinced. That he knows it's going to be a tough fight and he might lose.
Mm-hmm. Listen,
I think for Charlo it's about money, right? To fight Canelo, to maximize the most money he can get, because that's a fight that he could very easily lose. At least to me, it's like I'll say it's a 50-50 fight because Charlo, he's undefeated and he's big and strong, but it's definitely in Canelo's favor. Mm-hmm. At least to me, he's definitely. If they were to fight, I got Canelo beating him.
Listen, I hate to say this guy scared that guy. Like I don't believe that most fighters are frightened of each other, but I do think that what's going on here is that maybe behind the scenes, Jermel Charlo is being told by his handlers, you know who I'm talking about, that he should forget that Canelo or Triple G fight because the PBC doesn't seem to want to do business with anybody right now outside of the PBC.
Which is stupid, right? I mean, because that's. I'm guessing they're in it for the money too, right? I'm sure they're in it for some money, Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they take a Canelo fight where it can be a lucrative payday, and that means that they're gonna get paid as well.
Right. But that's the thing.
Like
I mean,
Al
it's the
Heyman's gonna
people.
get paid. I'm sure.
But I don't know. Like Bucho says, he thinks, and he's not the only one. He thinks it's some sort of a money grab, where they're not really looking to make the best fights, but just to put on some sort of a show to make that money. And it's even when Daniel Jacobs confronted Charlo and told him, "You haven't even touched an M yet," referring to a million. It seemed to like Charlie didn't have an answer for that, so maybe he's conscious of that. Was that?
That hurt his feelings.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
That's a
the
shame.
way he said it too. He said it very dismissive, very very arrogant.
Yeah, he said it like like you're on the wrong side of the money making street, even though they like to say that they're always on the right side. And by the way, before we continue, we do have Stu on the line.
I wasn't bad.
I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
All right. Well, the one, the only Stu.
What's happening?
Hello, Stu.
What's happening, boys?
Good. Jamo, we're doing good here. Just talking a little boxing. I guess now that we got two people here on the Hangout, we should get right into it. And it's interesting that this is the same lineup we had in that lost Second Renaissance episode that disappeared off the internet mysteriously. Never finished processing. By the way, recognize as soon as we were going to talk boxing, scary stuff, recognize drops off. I think he's frightened a little bit of the spooky stuff we're going to talk about. All right, by the way, let's start with this little subject, because it's all, guys, anything that's paranormal, mysterious, conspiracy theory, whatever, we're going to talk about it. And I want to talk about something, unless you have something to start off with. Or Bucho. All right.
Oh, he dropped too. What the hell? Everybody's
dropped off
man.
too. I got to tell you, this ain't right. This ain't right. All right, we're going to wait for them. Nino Gadji says, movies that scare the shit out of me. Yeah, now that's something I wanted to ask the chat room. He says, movies that scare the shit out of me. The Exorcist, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining, Autopsy of Jane Doe, Hereditary, and Sinister. Now, I've never seen Hereditary. I heard it's a good movie. Autopsy of Jane Doe, I haven't even heard of that one. All the others, I am familiar with that one. The Exorcist is really the one that holds up even today. Not necessarily, because listen, when you're a grown person, when you're an adult, it's kind of hard to watch a movie and be scared, right, Bucho? Like, I know you're not a big horror
fan. I'm not scared. I'm just, some movies that are gory, they're just disgusting, man. I can't stand them. I used to watch the Saw movies with Jigsaw. And I was just skipping forward all the torture scenes. I was just trying to get to the end of the story, see what happened. But I would skip the gore parts. Like, to me, I don't get it. I don't see the interest in it.
I get what you're saying. It's what they call it, torture porn. It's all gore. And I've seen YouTube channels and blogs where people are like, all right, I'm going to review the movie. And they start out with, on a scale of 1 to 10, they rate the cinematography, the script, but they always start out with the gore. Or, I'll give the gore 6 out of 10. It was somewhat realistic. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I remember I've told this story before. There was this guy I knew who had a roommate. And every time the guy that I was talking to got home from work, this guy was there in his living room, lights off, fucking dark, and he's just watching horror movies, like torture porn and all that. And I'm thinking, that can't be right for your brain.
Yeah.
Watching those images. I mean, I'm not the type of guy that thinks that you watch a movie and then you go shoot up a post office or something. But it can't be good either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has to have some sort of effect on you.
Right. Now, before we continue, I see we got McGregor Boxing Stars on the line. McGregor, are you there?
Yeah, man. What's good? What's good?
Good. No, not much. Just glad to have you on board. Thank you for being on. And we're just talking about, again, Halloween episode, loose format, whatever comes to mind. How about you? You like horror movies, or you're not a big horror movie type of guy?
No, I like horror movies. I was watching a movie earlier called The Entity, and it's meant to be based on a true story, and it's where a woman is essentially raped throughout the movie by a ghost. Kind of fucked up.
Is that a porn or?
No, it's an actual movie.
Interesting. I think, yeah, I've heard of it. I think.
Very creative.
I've heard of that.
That's a very interesting porn idea, though.
Like Butch always says, if it exists, somebody's jerking off to it, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's something similar out there. I've heard those stories, by the way, of people who have night terrors, and a long time ago, we're talking early 90s, there was an episode of Oprah, I think it was a Halloween episode, and they were talking about ghosts and all that. And there was a woman that said that there was a ghost in her house, and when she would wake up at night, she would see the entity like naked, sitting in her living room, wanking, giving it a good old wank. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, why is the ghost like? If you, let's say you survive death, that's what you're gonna do? You're gonna remain in the house just wanking it? I mean, that seems a little bizarre to me.
Especially when you've got a chick in there.
Exactly. Well, he's a ghost, so I don't know if he can.
So if he's able to orgasm, he's able to fuck.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He can touch himself, but he's a disembodied spirit, so he can't touch other people, I assume. I don't know the rules of Ghostbusting.
Yeah, but Patrick Swayze was able to touch people in that movie Ghost, wasn't he?
That was a movie, McGregor. Come on.
Fair enough.
All right. Listen, we got Stu back on the line. Stu, we're talking horror movies. How about you? Are you a horror movie type of guy?
I am. Yeah, I'm not into these Stephen King horrors, these cheesy fucking ones. I like the good horrors with good storylines, but some of them are real fucking cheese, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So it depends what horror really. It takes quite a lot to scare me because I just don't fear the spiritual world. Don't get me wrong, if there's a demon hanging around in my attic, I'd shit my pants. But when it comes to ghosts and things like that, just never really scared me. I mean, I used to walk through graveyards at midnight. My mates wouldn't go through. I'd go through that. I said, come on, man, fucking nothing here that's going to kill you. They're all fucking dead. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It just never bothered me when people get scared with stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Unless, like I was saying, that the worst thing it seems a ghost can do is jerk off in your living room. Let's go to the chat room real quick because I want to get some people's thoughts there. Azzy says, gore is the best. Shut the fuck up, losers. Violence News Network says, Nino Gaji, I personally thought it was funny and mediocre, but let's agree to disagree. I think they're talking about Saw. Nino Gaji says, horror story. The first time I fucked my high school sweetheart, years later she gained 100 pounds and then puked all over my boy's bed when I drove her. My goodness. My God. Sorry, I got a cough after that story. Poe Johnson says those gore movies are horrific to watch. Nino Gaji says I forgot The Grudge and The Ring. Amok PvP says based on a true story, my ass. It was later debunked as a hoax. You know what? I recently watched a Netflix movie, and I haven't had that much time to watch movies, but I decided to watch it in the spirit of Halloween. It's called The Ritual. It's a British movie, and it's about this. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's about these friends who one of their friends gets killed in a liquor store robbery, and in order to pay homage to him, they decide to go hiking in Sweden, which is the last place he wanted to go to. And once they go there, they decide to take a shortcut, and they go through a forest, and that's where things get really fucking creepy. It's a good movie. Not the best, but it's not one of those movies with the whole fucking jump scares. I don't know about you guys, I hate those fucking jump scares. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like movies like Paranormal Activity, where it's all just, it's silence, then all of a sudden, BAM! Big fucking music hit or...
Yeah, that's cheap, man. That's just, when you don't have any ideas and the writing is crappy for the movie, then you just fill the whole movie with those, how do you call them?
Jump scares, I said.
Yeah, it's so cheap. It's so nasty. That's why I hate scary movies. The only movie that really fucked me up was I know Stu didn't like this, doesn't like Stephen King, but it's It. I watched it as a kid, and clowns are fucking dirty.
You're talking about the
scary,
90s
they're
one.
dirty. It, yeah.
The
Pennywise.
90s
What
version.
is it?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That movie was fucking scary, man.
I'll tell you what, man. Fucking clowns, like you said, dirty, dirty animals. I saw a documentary once, a long time ago, where it's about clowns, in a festive, in a traveling circus. And one of them, eventually, he looks at the camera, he goes, listen, kids, being a clown is not for everybody. If you don't have an education or you don't have anywhere to turn to, that's where you go, the fucking circus. I don't recommend it. And you're supposed to feel bad for the guy. Let me tell you something. I felt no pity to the guy because he's a clown. Terrible, terrible beings. No pity from me. All right.
Who came up with the idea of a clown? Who thought about? Well, I think this is gonna be funny for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, you want to get into that fucking conspiracy theory? There's a channel out there that I saw on YouTube because sometimes I got time to waste. There's this guy that thinks that the clowns are something that you actually see in your dreams because they're an archetype of the Nephilim. The fallen angels. And he says that they look like clowns. I go, okay, wait a minute, what?
That's stretching it a bit. So the Nephilims, those fallen angels look like clowns?
Yeah.
That's
But
fucking stupid.
there is people that take DMT, the psychedelic, and they see clowns or jesters, actually. A lot of people see jesters and like circus motifs and carousels and all that. So some people think that clowns and circus and all that shit that comes from somewhere, maybe another dimension or subconscious, the collective subconscious. I don't know.
It could be. I highly doubt it. I mean, what? I don't know.
Well, how do you prove it? Is the point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm putting up some pictures
clown on the screen.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like you said, who thought that was a good idea? Hey, let's look at this. Terrifying creatures. Who thought it was a good idea to come up to entertain children with these beings? You know what it is, right? Why clowns are so terrifying? It's the paint, it's the distortion of the facial features. That's the most disturbing thing.
Yeah, I think so. There's something about you need to look at when you see another human being, you need to look at its face.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But why is it? Is it because to feel safe, to understand that you're looking at another human? Or, because when you look at, those Muslim women that are all veiled, they have the burqa?
Uh-huh.
What? I mean, it's laughing, like you feel uneasy. You feel weird because you can't see their face. What are they? Are they smiling? Are they, are they mad? You can't tell, right? Same thing with a clown, almost like it's not natural. You're messing up the face,
I do agree. I agree. And by the way, yeah, go ahead, Margaret. Go ahead.
I've just never heard that analogy before, like comparing clowns and Muslim women in burqas.
No, because you're interfering with the face, man. Like you have to look able to see the face, and I don't know how to.
I think
how deep is going to be. Hey, anti-Muslim.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Over there at BDA Boxing, racist. They said burqa. They mentioned the word burqa.
You know what's scary? Assaulting homeless people. That's what frightens me. All right. So yeah, I wanted to ask that movie. What's it called? The McGregor. You were talking about it.
The Entity.
The Entity. Do they show it?
That's the one I was talking about last week. When I said Boxing Star got raped by a ghost, it was based on his story. That's The Entity. That's what the film's called.
But is it good? Like, is it creepy or like what are we talking about here?
Honestly, I thought it was a bad rip off of like a hentai movie I watched when I was like 15.
Huh. All right, so it's not even that good then.
No, it's not that good, but like I figured I'd watch it because someone told me, here, you should check this out. It's scary as fuck. I sat down and watched it. I was there with popcorn and I got bored after like 2 minutes.
Where did you see the movie?
I got a loan of a DVD from a friend.
Oh, I see.
You'll find it though. If you Google The Entity, you'll find it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can find it. But I'm just saying, is it worth spending an hour and a half or 2 hours watching it?
Nah, it's not scary enough. It's kind of just boring. It's just It's essentially a girl getting raped by a ghost, and you don't really find out who it is until the end of the movie.
Oh wait a minute. Okay, you want to spoil
Is
it
there
or?
ghost come?
Is there an ectoplasm? No.
Yeah, I guess that's what he's asking.
No.
You imagine that? All
You
right. By
just
the
walk
way,
in randomly with scary music, and you see her in her bedroom on the ceiling getting fucked on top of the ceiling and stuff like that.
yeah. Listen,
And she's there screaming, begging this ghost to stop.
I'd like to feel a ghost vagina. Which would feel pretty nice.
I don't know, man. It's we're talking about hollow vaginas the other day, and how they're not all that great. I can't imagine a ghost vagina being all that fantastic either.
Yeah. Would you come like?
All right, listen. This is a
Nowhere, because there's a
Halloween
ghost
episode.
song.
It's a Halloween episode, not the fucking King Bucho corruption of the mind episode. All
I'm
right?
gonna start a porn.
There'd be too much
industry.
air, man. There'd be too much air. There'd be too much queefing going on.
That's what I'm saying. Bucho wants to spend 2 hours on whether fucking a ghost
So
would
the
feel good.
ghost had a ghost cock, and it doesn't. Anyways, yeah, you're right. We're getting into these.
Oh my god. All right, that's not necessary. Well, by the way, we got Cameron on the line, from what I can see.
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Because everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
All right, Cameron, are you there?
Yeah.
Good to have you on board. How about you? Scary movies, yay or nay?
Yay.
Like which one? Which one have you seen, and afterwards it actually makes you think, you know what? I think I'm gonna sleep with the lights on today, or tonight rather.
I mean, I've never slept with the lights on. I don't know, man. I've not watched one horror film where I thought that's extreme. Because I've always seen a film like I've always had that in my head, like it's a film. You know what I mean? Like I kind of look past it. I enjoy all the gory stuff. I enjoy seeing people get their heads cut off. I enjoy seeing people get dissected. You know what I mean? So it's good for me, you know. Have I just shocked everybody, or?
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
No, sorry, but it's because the mic got disconnected. That's why you heard the fucking the echo. So I couldn't reply. Yeah, so you.
By the way, I was going to say, as he's in the chat saying Cameron's a movie casual, 100% I'm a movie casual. I'm not the biggest movie fan in the world.
As he goes after everybody in this fucking chat.
I'm the same.
He doesn't like anybody. I don't think he likes any of us. I don't know why he's listening.
No, he don't like me. I don't. Is it a woman though? I got a feeling it might be a female. You know.
Well, listen, I can understand if he dislikes you, but me, come on, I got a fucking 6-point rating, average rating
well,
here.
At least I'm not a Pakistani pretending to be Mexican.
Well, that's Bucho.
That's my job, man.
That's Bucho. I'm a Ukrainian pretending to be Mexican. Oh no, wait, which one?
Don't tell people that Azzy is a woman, because then she's gonna start getting tons of fucking dick pics.
That's true. That's what happens.
Let's just hope it's not little Dominic.
Yeah, fucking little Dominic. That guy. I've never shown the picture of his mother and recognized the other day. What was it? A couple of episodes ago, he was like, I brought up little Dominic, or somebody brought up little Dominic, and I said about the picture. And he's like, yeah, show it. Like, we can't fucking show a picture of concerned MILF. I think we could get in trouble for doxing or something. So nowadays YouTube, they're banning people for anything. So we want to keep it safe here, play it safe. By the way, we got official boxing scorecard on the line. Official, are you there?
Yeah, man. What's up?
We're just talking scary movies. Yeah, just to start things off here. How about you? Scary movies. You enjoy them or don't?
Not really, but I can remember well of one movie that was like so fucked up, got me scared for a month or so. So, you want to hear the story?
Oh, wait a minute. A story or a movie?
No, a movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
So, when me and my brother were kids, when we just came to France, like we were staying at home, not having any money, so all all we was doing, we was watching TV, and there was like 5 channels on French national television, and there's one of the channels, some German liberal channel Arte, which is shown also in France.
Oh,
And while it's controlled by the extreme liberals, they're always passing some PC things and stupid movies, and but never mind. So they showed a movie called Necrophile, some short movie, and like at the time, my bro and me, we were like 14 and 12 years old, and it was late night, and we didn't know what was that. It's some fucked up movie about some necrophile that it starts by him watching the funeral and jerking off, and then there's some young girl, his cousin, like 10 years old, whose parents died, and she comes to live with him. And trust me, that movie had me scared for at least a month. I wanted to vomit. It's so fucked up.
That fucking Arte, the equivalent of that one is RTV here in Canada, and in every Friday they would show. There was a special series called Black Box or something like that, and they showed all these movies from Europe. And man, I saw some real fucked up movies there. There was a movie, I forget what it's called, but it's about a woman who accidentally eats a piece of her flesh, and then she becomes obsessed with cutting herself and eating herself. Really, it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies where I watched it and I cringed. It's really, and it hurts. It's hard for me. I'm not saying I'm. And then there was the other. Real quick, there was the other movie called Funny Games by this Austrian guy, and it's not supposed to be an entertaining movie, but it plays with the concept of horror movies and all that, and how it plays with your expectations. It's more of an art movie, really, but it's a fucked up movie too. So it's usually those what do they call art house films that are really the most disturbing, and not the Hollywood,
Yeah, some hipster shit. And I know the German Austrian movie you're talking about. I've never seen it, but I read about it. Yeah. They'll plan like a lot of hipster movies and wannabe artistic shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, people in the chat.
I have a suggestion. Sorry, BD. I have a suggestion for you. If you want to see some fucked up movie, go watch a Serbian movie. That's the name of the movie. That's sex horror thriller. It's so fucked up.
Sex
People
horror
are
thriller.
rating it. There's some fucked up movie called I've seen it. 120 Days Salo.
Oh yeah, that's
an old Italian movie, and so the Serbian movie, the Serbian film, or whatever it's called, it's rated as one of the worst, along with Salo. So those two movies are really fucked up. And I thought, yeah.
Go on, bro. Go on. I thought you'd stop. Go on.
No, I just wanted to say that I had that pleasure of seeing 120 Days Sala also on the same channel, and that's it. Go on.
Wait a minute. They showed Salo on Arte?
Yep.
Jeez Louise. All right, sorry, Stu. What were you going to say?
No, like so I'm going through these films where I'm thinking, what's a scary movie I can mention? And my brain's rattled, mate. I can't think of many. I thought that Mama was quite a scary film. Did you watch that?
Is that the one where with what's his name?
The ghost is looking after them children in that hut in the forest.
Oh yeah. With Jamie Lannister. The guy from
Yeah,
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I thought that was quite a scary film. I mean, the Ring's got. I like the Ring. There's three of them now. I think I thought all three of them. I think I've seen. I like them, but I'm just trying to think what films really scared me. And it's just
Well, let's try to get a consensus here. Let's try to get a consensus here because people in the chat room, a lot of people brought up The Exorcist. What about you guys? It's a classic. Some people say it still stands the test
I
of
mean,
time.
it was banned in England when I was younger. It got banned in England, so because I remember it was a big thing when you got the VHS of The Exorcist. It was a big thing. I mean, you'd get to watch it, but it'd be like filmed on a potato sort of thing. It was fucking terrible picture, so you couldn't really see the. But when I see it now, I don't see what all the fuss was about. But back then, I suppose it was quite controversial, because she was stabbing herself in the original one. She was stabbing herself in the pussy with a fucking cross and all sorts, weren't she? So it and I actually believe it fucked the girl. The girl that played that role actually went off the rails after doing that show. I think she went into become a
Actually, she got hot when she reached her 20s. She started working out and everything,
But
and
she was off the rails though. She was off the rails.
well, that's the way we like him, hot and off the rails. Now listen,
Same with the
Exorcist-
girl in the Poltergeist. I reckon she was doing drugs at 13. That young, the little blonde thing in the Poltergeist.
yeah,
I reckon
that
I reckon it really fucked her up.
that was a tragedy because apparently she was abused on the set, and
Yeah, well, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, of course, the fucking pedo would.
well, that's the rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that.
No, of course, it's true.
Jeez, now that's a huge downer. Now, real quick, let's go to the chat room. Azzy says Salo was pretty disturbing, to be honest. Mateus Lisa says 7 was scary. That scene in the ring, Amuk says that scene in the ring was pretty trippy. 7 is one of my favorites, says Nino Gaji. What about Hellraiser? Amok says Hellraiser was, yeah, it's interesting. The concept of have any of you guys seen Hellraiser?
Yeah. At the time, I thought it was quite scary, but now I look at it and I think I've seen. I've seen scarier things at Halloween parties. To be honest with you.
Yeah, because that's what we were saying at the beginning of the show. Like, when you're an adult, there's not that much that's gonna scare you, but there are things that can disturb you, like when they're realistic. For example, Hellraiser, the concept is good. If you've read the novella, is what they call it. It's a short. It's more than a short story. It's longer than a short story. It's actually better than the movie because the special effects in the movie, they're kind of dated. But when you watch a movie like Salo, 120 Days of Sodom, and it's possible that there's people that are doing that type of shit out there, kidnapping people and doing that to them. That's disturbing to me. Like, that's the type of movie where I go, I don't want to watch that shit. Sorry. What about you guys? Is there any movie that you've said, you know what, I've heard about it and I don't need to see it?
What horror films? No, not really. Sorry, baby. I just, like I said, with the horror films, I'll watch them, but watching them being scared is a different thing. I mean, I'm just got a mind blank at the moment. I mean, I think what film I thought was quite scary back in the day. There was one I just thought of one a minute ago, but my mind's gone blank again. Like I said, I thought Paranormal Activity, the first one, I thought that had a good. I think it had a good theme behind it, and it was quite scary at times because you was on your edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen, sort of thing. And they made it look like it was real. So I think that was quite scary at first, but then it got a bit. When you found out it was just because it said based on a true story at first, so you think, oh fucking hell, this could be quite interesting. But then when you find out it's basically most of it's false, and it's based on the story of one of the producers that experienced something as a kid or something like that, you just think, oh, what a load of bollocks. But I think if you can get like a horror story and put some sort of truth behind it, it actually makes it a lot better film. It's like the haunting of what's the House of Connecticut or something like that. Haunting of Connecticut, and what's the other one? They're true stories, isn't they?
Amityville, or what is? How is it spelled? The Amityville horror. I think it's called the Amityville horror. Is that how?
Amityville House horror or something like that, isn't it? Yeah, Amityville House horror or something like that.
That's more of a comedy than a horror movie.
No, not
Come on.
not the original ones. No, it's not. But no, what I'm saying is, them films they make more money because they've actually got some sort of truth behind it. They're based on true stories. And I think when you do that, I think you make a bigger film. It's just when you're doing horrors, you've got to get it right. And I think a lot of the times I'm seeing these horrors, and I mean, it's just poor special effects, poor storylines, and just cheesy. I mean, still got this. You know, can you remember in the films in the 80s when it weren't even the actress screaming; it just had someone else in the background doing the screaming for them. It's just, and it's just cheaply made. And a lot of the horror films today are like that when you watch them on the Halloween.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I tell you, what scene sticks with me from The Exorcist is the more than the demon shit and all that. It's when he's having that dream about his mother. Because I don't know if you guys remember, for anybody that hasn't watched The Exorcist, one of the characters is a priest, and he wasn't there when his mother died. So he's riddled with the guilt of not having been there for her. And so he's having a dream where he's on the one side of the street and his mother is on the other side. Like she's coming up out of the subway station, the underground subway station. And you get this creepy music. Like it really captured the essence of a nightmare. And she comes up and there's no sound except for some like ambience, creepy sound. And he's waving to her and you can't hear what he's saying to her. And she tries to say something back. And then he starts running towards her, and you just see her going back down into the fucking subway station. I don't know why that dream. Maybe because we've all had dreams like those. You know, dreams where you were trying to run, or you're trying to run at somebody, and you can't catch them. I don't know. Has anybody had those type of dreams?
Well, I've had when you're getting chased and you try, and no matter how fast you run, you can't get away from them. They're still coming, but they never catch you, do they? They never catch you. That's one thing they never do. But when you're getting chased, I've had many dreams like that, and you're running like fuck, and you just don't seem to be getting anywhere. It's like when have you ever had a dream where you're in a fight and you feel like you're trying to throw punches, but nothing's happening. It feels like nothing's happening. It's one of them ones, isn't it?
Yeah, like an old Evander Holyfield. You can't pull the trigger. Actually, I heard somebody asked Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, do you ever have those type of dreams like where you can't run? He goes, no, I'm running all the time. Like he has no problem in his dreams. The guy's a runner, even in his dreams. People in the chat room says, Poe Johnson says, has anybody seen Catfish? Biggest con job ever. The trailer was sold to you as a horror film. It ends up being soy boy indie film. Ugh, I hate those deceiving trailers where you think it's gonna be something and it turns out to be a complete fucking dud.
I'll tell you what, though, I don't know if I told you guys a story. This is why I believe in all the spiritual world and demonic world. I actually lived on when I left my parents' house, I bought a flat. It was quite a nice little area, nice little flat. And I didn't know at the time, but this flat was built on old graveyards. And
no kidding.
I didn't know at the time, but I used to experience like certain things, like the tap just coming on and shit like that. But I just thought because it might have been a fucking because the tap had a dodgy thing that you twisted. I just thought it'd just come loose and it'd come on, sort of thing. So I never thought nothing of it. It's only when I used to wake up with actually claw marks down my back, and I've got witnesses. I'd show my parents. I used to show them. I show my girlfriend at the time, and even my mum was getting a bit worried because I was actually waking up with like claw marks down my back, like, and not just like thick claw marks, and it weren't like from my fingers. You could see it was like from some sort of fucking beast, some sort of giant cat. But I haven't got I haven't got like a leopard or anything in my fucking house, so I know it's definitely not a cat. But I was waking up with these fucking I know I was waking and I started to shit my pants. And one time I was asleep in my bedroom, and I woke and I felt something. It was like a fucking whack at the side of my head. I'm not lying. This, you might think I'm bullshit, and this is all truth. Not many people know this. I felt a whack at the side of my head, and I thought it was just me waking up, sort of thing, just shocking myself. But my fucking ear was ringing for time, and that's what woke me up. I was sleeping next to me. I just felt a massive whack on my ear. So I was experiencing some strange stuff in there. And then when the fucking the claw mark started coming on me, that's when I started to get really worried. And
now listen,
how did you find out that it was built on a?
Because I was speaking because I was experienced stuff, and I started talking to the neighbours about it and that lot. And that's when
Wait,
someone met.
did they also see the same experience the same things?
Well, this is the thing, because it got to the stage where I was there the longest, because people used to just move in and out of these places. They'd move, come in. So I got to the stage where I was there the longest. They'd not been there long, a lot of them. They'd only been there so a lot of them I didn't really know properly, but they never mentioned anything. But there could have been people experiencing it and then just thinking, what I was thinking, it's just fucking my head playing tricks with me. But your head can't play tricks with you when you wake up and there's fucking claw marks all the way down your chest and your back and everything like that. And it got really bad. There were bad claw marks. I mean, drew blood as well. And I started to shit my pants. And it got to the stage where I started staying at my parents. I went to a Manchester United game, came back, and the fucking place had been burgled. And I took my stuff and I never went back there. Fucking sold it, never went back there.
All right.
I
know what happened.
Whether you believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't believe it for a second. Sorry, Stu, I don't believe it for a second. I hate to call you out on it. I hate to do it, Stu. But here's, as soon as you started telling the story, I know what happened. You say you had scratch marks in your back and you showed them to your girlfriend. That means you were with other women and you came up with this cockamamie story to justify the fact that you had claw marks on your back. I know what you think I was born yesterday, Stu. Come on. You've been exposed, man. Come on.
This is what I mean. I can't open up to you, boys. I just can't open to you. When you need a shoulder to cry on or someone to open up to, I just can't do it with you, boys, man.
We see through you.
We believe you, bro.
Of course, of course.
Like I said, it could have been me doing it in my sleep. I'm not saying that this is definitely some demonic creature doing this to me, but explain to me why I've got these marks on me. Do you know what I mean? Explain to me why I woke up with a red ear and a ringing ear. And this was a big slap. This is not just a little tap round the face. This was a fucking whack round the head. And I actually felt when I was in my parents' house, I actually felt a spirit above me holding me down, because I'd been a bit of a wrong 'un at the time. I just lost my uncle, and I took it quite bad. And I was going through a patch where I was misbehaving, and I felt one night I woke up and I felt him above me, and I thought I was just dreaming, so I never thought of it, but I felt him above me holding me down, having a go at me, sort of thing.
What?
And that scared me, because you can't move. It's just like when they're above you, you just can't move. You just freeze. You try to move, you can't, and that scared me. That did, but I thought I was dreaming, so I thought nothing of it. But as you get older, you start to connect the dots and think maybe it could have happened. So
let me ask you this: as soon as you moved out of the house, it all stopped?
Yeah, because with ghosts don't follow you around. Demons do. It's if you're possessed by a demon, he'll follow you to the end of the earth. You could sell your house 5 times, buy a new one, and he'll still be there. It's ghosts. They sort of they stay on properties and buildings, don't they?
That's the thing.
It's like recognize his dad. He still sits in that house, doesn't he? In his room.
Yeah, he's still in the house eating rice and beans. The thing is this. People in the chat room are saying it's sleep paralysis. All right, we got apology. You gotta, you're in a. You can tell he's at university, and very crowded. Apology. You gotta mute your mic, man. Mute your mic. Make sure go into an abandoned classroom or something, or the broom closet or something, because there's too much noise. Apology, way too much, man. Yeah, people in the chat room are saying sleep paralysis. That's one of the subjects that we've been looking at, and I don't think we've ever talked about. Anybody else here in this chat room or in the Hangouts as well experienced sleep paralysis?
Can I just explain one more thing, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
My mother, she looked after this. She used to look after this boy. He's older now. He's grown up, got a missus and kid now. But she took him to the graveyard, and this kid was a bit of a fucking wrong, and he was up to all sorts, naughty boy. And she took him to the graveyard to see a family member. And she's sitting there. Next minute, right, my mum and this kid said the same. So they're not making it up. That the next minute, he got thrown on the floor and held down. And this kid just started screaming. My mum got scared because the kid's standing next to her 1 minute. Next minute, he's on the floor, like 10 yards away, fucking screaming. So he said that he got thrown to the floor and someone jumped on top of him and held him down. And that's what frightened him. Now, I weren't there, so I can't vouch for this story, but My mum will swear until she goes to her grave that this happened. And so that boy, he said he was the scaredest he's ever been. He believes in that shit now. And so there's another story.
And that happened during the day? That happened during the day?
My mum's not the sort of person. She doesn't have to make stories up so she can come on the BDA show and, tell everyone. She doesn't make this shit up. So she swears down, and so does he.
But that happened to the kid during the day or during the night?
Yeah, during the day in the graveyard.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that is
I mean,
rather bizarre.
I believe your mom. I believe your mom. I don't believe the kid because, like you said, he was a kid who got into trouble and stuff like that. I believe it was just him being a little dick.
Yeah, but the thing is, my mum, I said that. I said, he's just been. But my mum said she knows when someone's got proper fear in their eyes. And this kid was in fear. That she said he screamed. And that's hard to put on, bro. Do you know what I mean? You can fake pretend you're scared, but to show genuine fear, I mean that's not easy to put on. And he's too young. He's not smart enough to be able to do that. She connects the dots like I would, and she believed him because he actually flew to the ground. It weren't like he just jumped backwards in a dramatic way. He actually fell naturally, like you would when someone would push you.
That's
yeah. And she, like I said, my mum's old school. She doesn't lie to anyone. My mum, she's just a very old school Irish genuine woman, man. She just doesn't lie. She's a Catholic, so she's got no reason to fucking bullshit. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And she swears to her grave that that's what happened. And so does the boy. He shit his pants. He's never been back there, so that tells you something.
Now, what do you do? You have a theory about what happened? Why it happened to that kid?
Well, yeah, my mum reckons that it could have been her family member fucking being angry with him because he was causing a lot of grief, bringing a lot of trouble to the house. And she said it's probably. She goes, you never know. It could have been, this family member that was giving him a tell-off. I mean, that's just her theory. I'm not saying that's what happened. So anyone in the chat, this is not me saying this definitely happened. I'm just going by what my mother told me. And that's just a theory that she used. But it could have been anything. It could have been a fucking dodgy spirit in there. You got to remember, when you go to graveyards, not only are there paedophiles and murderers, there's people that have been murdered. Do you know what I mean? There's people that have been murdered and bitter spirits.
I think I know what happened. Yeah, I think now that you mention it, that theory makes sense. You know what happened? That kid...
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time.
Somebody had to straighten him out. I think it was Mo Green's ghost. Had to straighten that kid out, Just a little bit. People in the chat room, I want to hear if some of you have had sleep paralysis. Leave your comments. Anybody else in this hangout, sleep paralysis or any type of things that are bizarre in the night? Things you've seen at night that don't make sense?
I've seen shadows. Shadows that choke you.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, man.
Okay. Well, you want to give us a little more details?
Must have been my ex-girlfriend or something.
Oh.
No, I don't know, man. Yeah, I've seen shadows. I've seen that. I read about it, and a lot of people see shadows sitting on top of them and shit.
My friend and my brother had them.
The shadows that's...
Yeah, with my friend, he's telling us that too often he cannot sleep. He's scared to go to sleep because in the middle of the night he has some difficulties breathing. It's maybe due to too much cocaine and alcohol abuse. So maybe that's why. On the other hand, my brother, sometimes he tells me the last night I had paralysis, his eyes were open, but he was unable to move, and he was seeing the ghosts around me, screaming, trying to scream to warn me, but yeah.
I mean, I could get that theory with the alcohol cocaine abuse, but even if I was on cocaine and alcohol, which I wasn't. I mean, cocaine is not going to put fucking scratches all over your body, is it? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, that was a...
Depends on if you're with someone else who's on the coke.
No, but I was on my own.
Oh.
I was on my own, not on coke or drink, so that's why.
Okay. Stu, could you have scratched your own back?
But the thing is, I thought the position it is, I must have had. It's like for me to have done that, I'd have to be very flexible in my sleep. Where some of the scratches were, and they were deep, and it looked like a bigger. It looked like a lot bigger hand than what my hand was. It looked like it was a claw from a beast, not a fucking man.
How many fingers was it? Like the claw thing.
Well, it was like there was three. It was in threes and fours.
Okay.
That's why I said there was. That's why I couldn't understand what it was, because it was in threes and fours. If I was doing, I could have done it myself. Don't get me wrong, but I was just very
Do you have
strange.
a sexual attraction? Do you have a sexual attraction to like tridents or anything?
Tridents.
I don't even know what this.
All right, Virtuoso in the chat room says, I get sleep paralysis. One time in the Dominican Republic, I woke up to shotgun sounds and I was hallucinating. I saw a female soldier. When you're on REM sleep, the brain releases DMT. That's why. Now, how come when people take DMT, do they get paralyzed and see shadows? Because if not, I don't necessarily buy that.
No,
DMT.
I don't think he's saying that DMT is what paralyzes you.
Ah, okay, yeah. That's what they say, right? They say that it's because you're in between. You wake up, but you're still in between sleep and wakefulness, and so you get paralyzed. And then the remnants of the DMT are what makes you see the shadows. But how does that explain the strangling or the feeling that you get something on your or somebody on your chest? See where I'm going with this? I don't know if the DMT theory is.
Yeah, it doesn't add up to me.
Was that?
It doesn't add up to me, like the whole DMT and like paralysis and someone on your chest. It doesn't make much sense.
No,
I mean, I felt sleep paralysis myself at one point.
Right.
But
it might be the correct explanation, but so far, I'm not convinced. I'm unconvinced. And Poe Johnson in the chat room says, BDA, tell us about your Vietnam flashbacks. Oh man, if I start talking to you about my Vietnam flashbacks, we're gonna be here all night. You want to talk about horror stories? Well, the shit I saw. I can even hear it right now. If you really pay attention, they come back.
No. It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead. Shoot, Nicky.
Ah, fuck. Flashbacks. Gotta shake him off. All right. Now listen. I want to talk a little bit about some of the... Okay, Virtuoso says DMT causes hallucinations, not paralysis. But if you combine it with the sleeping, that's what we're talking about. I think that's where it comes. Again, I'm unconvinced, but I understand the theory. The Punisher says, since I started listening to BDA, I get nightmares of a British clown who strangles his victims with scarves and feeds them to his carnivorous sheep at his remote farmhouse. First of all, he doesn't feed them to sheep, he feeds them to pigs. I think that's the story, right? He's got a pig farm. We're talking about Stu, by the way, where you mess with him, he sends you to the pig farm. German Persia says BDA was... What?
You got it. If you don't want to be counting the fingers you haven't got.
Oh. All right.
Dear God.
Now listen. We were talking about a Serbian film. Have any of you... I think Pavel saw it. Or Apology. One of those two guys who fucking... I know for sure those... That's why I wanted Apology on the show, but it's too crowded where he is. But I bet you he's seen some fucked up movies. Any of you seen a Serbian film?
Nope.
I think official. Did you watch it or did you only read about it? I forgot what you said.
No, I watched it. I watched it
because he can understand it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Actually does help BDO.
Yeah, official. Wasn't that high school for you watching that movie? Like it reminded you of Serbian high school or something?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you repeat the question?
No, it was a stupid joke. I'm not going to repeat it. Have you guys ever seen a movie called Kill List? Kill List.
When I was younger, I've seen some Japanese anime version, or was it Blacklist? No,
I'm talking about. Yeah, there's an anime. There's an anime called Kill List, I think, but then there's a British movie of the same name, and it's pretty good.
Is that the thing that like has like there's some things that take place in like Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, they never actually
Yeah.
mention. They only mention what happened in the Ukraine. They never tell you what exactly
Yeah.
happened.
No,
It's about
that's
this.
what I meant. Like the thing in Kiev, like the event. In
Yeah,
Kiev.
yeah, that was great. They always talk about Kiev, but they never mention what went down there. Essentially, it's a movie about two hitmen that are giving a job, and they have to kill about, I think, 3 people. And each time they kill somebody, things start getting weirder and weirder. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It's best. It's best when you go watching those movies to go in fresh. So, watch that one. Nino Gaji says, I've never seen Kill List, but I've heard of it. Amok says, I've seen that video from YouTube in Iraq when the US military sees a guy fucking a goat. What? A video of a guy fucking a goat? Ugh.
Nice.
Amok's.
It's nothing. Weiss had some documentary shot about some South American country about the people there because apparently in that country I cannot remember which one country is it, but apparently in some of those villages there it's a tradition for guys to fuck goats. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I saw that one. I think it was in Colombia. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do it all throughout.
Maybe, and so he's filming the guy with his donkey. It's incredible.
That's gotta be a bad life. Poor donkey, he's gotta be pulling carts and shit, working the fields. Then at the end of the day, he just wants to relax. And no, some fucking Colombian, probably all coked up, goes behind him and sticks his cock in him. Starts fucking him.
That. Can we change the subject, man? Fucking donkeys and goats, man. I thought this
you know what's scary, man?
We spent more time talking about fucking bestiality than we have about horror movies.
That's a good point.
What's scary? What actually is scary is aliens, and I'm not talking about illegal Mexican aliens. I'm talking about. No, but seriously, like aliens from outer space, that's scary, man, because it's possible, man. So I don't know if you guys remember that movie with Mel Gibson, Signs.
Oh yeah,
that movie scared me just because you never saw the aliens. Just at the end you saw them, but throughout the whole movie you just heard about the aliens and you never saw them. Then at some point you just see a video on TV because they're watching like the news and you see like an alien just walking by. You see it for like 2 seconds. I don't know. I found that fucking creepy and scary, man.
I'm convinced. I'm convinced there's alien presence on this earth, all over the place. I'm convinced that they are, say, kidnapping us and injecting DNA in us and all sorts. Honestly, because it's just, I can't believe how intelligence has just got so vast so quick. We went hundreds of years where we couldn't basically do fucking anything. I mean, we had the tools to build nice buildings and stuff like that, but we couldn't fly. We had no technology, and we had no cars and things like that. And in 100 years, look where the technology's come. I mean,
yeah.
And some of the and when you think about some of the things that they can do now, you're wrapping your head around it, thinking, how the fuck did someone come out with this idea? And I think we're giving humans too much credit to naturally come out of a fucking idea like that. Do you know what I mean? Because some of these things and the technology out there is amazing, and I just think there's some alien presence behind it. Because, like I said, 120, 130 years ago, we could barely get a fucking plane in the sky, a fucking car to. I don't know what that noise is. We could barely get a car to move. So, it's just. I'm an alien man. I'm myself. I believe that's what they're around.
Yeah, and that's scary because if they're real, then you have no chance against them. Especially if you're sleeping and then they come on and they fucking kidnap you and shit and they probe you. Fuck that shit, man. That's scary.
I mean, I kind of think that this is going to sound crazy as fuck, but I think all of us, animals, different people, different races, I think we're all from different areas of the universe, and we were put here on Earth, yeah, as a reality TV show. for other aliens.
It could be. I mean, we would probably do the same thing. That's the thing.
Well, they
Usually-
reckon
Alright,
they
go ahead.
reckon they reckon there's actually alien species living on this planet in the center of the planet. You know where they call it the Garden of Eden. They reckon that's in the center of the planet, don't they? But that story comes from the theory that there is actually aliens and different creatures living there. I mean, whether it's true or not, I'm not going to sit and say that's true. But you know, all these stories have got to take into account. I mean, there's something going on in Antarctica. There's something going on there because that is the only land. That's the only land that. Trust me, there's something there that they're hiding. Trust me, because you try and there's certain parts of Antarctica you won't even get near. They'll shoot you down. That no one can claim that land. That is land that no one can claim, not even by force. That belongs to a certain set of nations. I think there's about 8 nations that have signed to this treaty where they protect this bit, and they actually have fly zones. They'll make you fly 2,000 miles further to avoid the airspace around there. There's something they're hiding around there, and the rumor is that it's alien species that are around. Because if you remember, I forgot what was it called? Operation. I can't remember what it's called. The Americans sent a general and a fleet to the Antarctica because there was rumors that the Nazis were hiding there. And
oh yeah,
someone in the chat will tell me what this general was called. Byrd, General Byrd. He was an explorer and he knew the Antarctica well. And he was a general, and he sent one of the biggest fleets ever to be sent out from the States. And he come back with some stories that the press and the government tried to hide for ages. Only when he was older, he came out and told him in his book that they come across an advanced flying machine that took out like a few of his fleet and warned them, and that's why they all turned back. They turned back, mate, with half a fleet. They lost half their fleet, and General Byrd said something came out of the water. A flying disc came out of the water with technology that he'd never seen, and just started taking out half his fleet, and they turned around. And this is the General Byrd. This is not a guy that's smoking weed and doing cocaine and hallucinating.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I have to look into that. But
I'm more interested in what's underneath Antarctica's ice because I've heard stories of like
the
cities.
garden. That's what they're saying. The garden. They say it's the.
Well,
They say the Garden of Eden in the sense. That's what they're saying.
it used to be a jungle, Antarctica, like way back. I guess that the continents shifted and
There's
ended up at the bottom.
There's a hole there, the big hole they found, and the BBC sent a team down there, and they've never come back. And that was 30, 40 years ago. They've still not found the bodies. They've never come back, never returned. They sent a team about 6 or 7 down there, and they've not been seen since. They went down this hole and ain't been seen since. So, and this is the same hole now that everyone's protecting. You won't get near there now. So
I'm trying to look that one up because I've never heard about that. BBC explorers went into a hole in Antarctica and never came back.
Yeah, BBC reporters. They sent a team. It was in the, I think it might have been the 70s or 80s or something like that. Might have been before then, but they sent a team. I remember seeing it on a document. They sent a team. They never returned.
Yeah, wasn't there like a big X on Google Maps over Antarctica like a few months ago? I remember reading about something like that on Ladboy. There was like a red X, and people were going crazy saying like that government officials were like putting the X over as like a complete no-fly zone. Like there was an experiment going on at the time. Freaky shit, man.
That's I've heard about that. I heard for a while there was people were trying to watch things in Antarctica. Things were blocked out as well, I think, or blacked out. It makes you wonder what's going on in there and how it's a neutral zone, or what do they call it?
Exactly, it's a neutral zone, and they've all agreed to that. I mean, how would you get countries that are basically at war with each other at the time? Say the Soviet. This was during the Cold War days, and the Soviets and the fucking Americans and everyone else, and the Koreans and people like that to agree to just, you know, not tread on each other's toes when it comes to this bit. There's something sacred there. I reckon, who is it? They said that during the fucking elections, there's one conspiracy theorist that's into this all reptilian shit. Now, I'm not saying this is the case because this could be a bit far fetched, but I think it was some of the politicians in America. I think it might have been John McCain, one of them, and John Kerry. Is it Kerry? And,
yeah, that was him. That was him.
John Kerry. They went to Alaska, and this guy was saying it was to meet reptilians.
Well,
right?
it was John Kerry.
It was to meet the reptilians to talk about because some people think reptilians are running the planet. I'm not saying this, so don't fucking have me in the chat about it. But I'm just saying this is what this guy said, and he reckons they went to meet an alien species that's calling the shots to talk about the elections. And that was the conspiracy theory. But why would they go to the Antarctica where there's dodgy shit going around? It's so secretive. No one's really allowed to go there. And then they get special politicians to go to that exact spot. Just a bit weird.
There's no doubt about its high, strange weirdness in that fucking place. And I haven't found the article or anything about the BBC reporters, but I did find one that's about Russian reporters. I mean, scientists. This is from Fox News. Make all the jokes you want. Missing scientist mystery deepens in frozen Antarctica. And this is from 2012, updated to 2015. So, yeah, they disappeared. And I haven't read the article, but listen, if you're out there in the wild, you could disappear in a whole number of ways. But there's no doubt that Antarctica, like we said, politicians go there. It's a neutral zone. And there's something weird going on there. Something that people that's secret, and I don't know what it is. Also, you were talking about aliens. I had to leave for a couple of minutes before, but there's a theory that you guys were talking about technology. It's interesting. You look at the advances that have been made since World War II, compared to for the thousands of years that humanity has been working with technology. It's sped up since World War II. I saw a graph. I'm gonna look for it. So how do you explain that? Are we getting better? Is humanity getting better, or is it receiving help, as some people have theorized?
I can't say humanity is getting better, because if you think about the leap in phones in the last 20 years, now you can watch porn on your phone. You could never do that, but at the same point, back 18 years ago, your phone would be able to last you for 7 weeks if you had a Nokia. And now it can't even last 4 hours without fucking dying. Is that really scientific advancement?
I don't know.
I've just been looking for that article, and do you know what? It's funny that it's nowhere on the internet. It's been taken down because I've seen stuff about this. I've seen documentaries where they've showed you about this and told you about it.
I know what you're talking about is true, because I've seen a documentary on it as well. I've seen it on the Discovery Channel about 7 years ago. And I'm looking for it too. It ain't on the internet.
It's interesting when we talk about technology, because there have been people that talked about, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer. He was a trauma doctor who got into UFO research, and take what he says with a grain of salt. But what I'm interested in is when he talks about hidden technology and how there's this whole other, they call it the breakaway civilization, where they have the private, and this is private companies. It's not the military, it's not the CIA, it's private companies where you have people, the CEOs are always former, CIA chiefs or whatever, and then they switch back and forth within the public and the private sector. And apparently these companies like Lockheed Martin and other weapons companies, and they have technology that beyond your wildest dreams. And supposedly that's why they call it a breakaway civilization, because they have things that we don't even know exist. And apparently he says that only a select few people have access to that knowledge of that technology. So it makes you wonder, because it's like that movie The Village. Yeah, I know the movie sucked, but it raises an interesting point of what if we were being kept in the dark, and people look at the phone, oh, look at my new iPhone, look at my new iPod, And there might be people out there, a select few, that know that there's technology that exists in laboratories, in secret laboratories, where fucking iPhone is nothing. So it doesn't have to be necessarily extraterrestrial. It just has to be the fact that maybe because of business decisions or security, national security reasons, there's technology out there that we don't even know exists.
Listen, what we are seeing, what they have got that we don't know about is far superior. Just put it this way, this is an analogy. Say we've got the PlayStation 4 now, they've got the PlayStation 8, 9. That's how advanced they are ahead of. Obviously, they're not going to give us the same technology as them, because if there's a revolution, they're fucked. They're always going to stay ahead of us. The Americans, when they sell their weapons, the Americans don't sell their best weapons. You think they're going to give Saudi Arabia their best weapons? They sell their old stuff that they don't want no more because they renew it. But they don't sell them their best weapons. You'd be surprised what they've got, mate, and what they can do. They hide it back. And like I said, it's a mini thing as well. It's like PlayStation. If PlayStation bought a system out every year, then look at the money they'd lose out on, because they're selling these things for 10 years. They'll keep these machines. That's why they hold it back. They could sell us PlayStation 6, 5 now if they wanted. PlayStation 5 at least. But they don't, because they hold it back, because they'll make as much money out of PlayStation 4 as they can with all the games and everything else. And
when did the PlayStation 1 first come out? Was it like 1992?
Yeah, well, that was 10 years. I think it was 10, 12 years, 10 years before they bought the 2 out. 10, 12 years, I think. Before
then that was like 8 years before they bought out the 3, and then like 5 before the 4.
Yeah, I think it was something like. I think it was. I think
so that equates to like an average of 6.5 years per console.
Yeah, and that's how they do it. They've got. Of course, they could bring out a PlayStation 5 tomorrow if they wanted to, but they're not going to bring that out because they're going to make as much as they can out of the 4, and they're going to rinse this PlayStation until everyone's got one, and then they'll bring that there. 5.
It's interesting, man, because is anybody else worried about how one day video games are going to get so advanced that there's very few people are going to want to live their real lives? Because, I mean, we're already seeing it to a certain extent with video games. Some people spend their whole free time just playing video games. They don't want to associate with anybody. They don't want to exercise or anything. Do you think that's a real danger?
I do. I really do. One of my friends, when I was back in secondary school, he got involved in a really nerdy game called World of Warcraft, and he was about 15. Mate, we haven't actually. I've only spoken to him twice since then because he's in his house constantly because he's able to interact with other people.
Right.
So he's communicating with other people on a regular basis. He's completely involved in this game, and he's explained it that it kind of ruined his life because like they have mini achievements, and he wasn't doing anything really good in life. So they're like, if you do something good, you can get new loot or gear or whatever, and you can get little achievements and mounts, and it kind of gives him like something to do and a bit of entertainment to himself and make himself feel good. And at the same point, he's communicating, interacting, talking to other individuals, and he's not actually being able to interact like on a real social basis.
Right.
Like I asked him, did he want to go to the pub with us just like 3 weeks ago? We hadn't seen him in forever. This was 7 years after our graduation. And he literally says to me, no, mate, I'm going to go raid in battle for Azeroth or some shit like that is what he said to me. And I'm like, all right, okay then, see it. And that type of shit is the going on in games. There's got to be less like people interacting. Look at like Fortnite. Fortnite's kind of taken over. Like how many people like I'll message a friend being like, what's up? He's like playing Fortnite. I'm like, cool, do you want to go out? Do you want to go see a movie? He's like, no, there's no more social interaction. And it's like that with social media as well.
And that's why a lot of these boys, I mean, a lot of these young boys, they're probably 17, 18 year old, and they've not even tasted a bit of pussy yet. You can guarantee it. They're not getting out. They're not meeting any of these girls. And it's a scary thought, because when I was out chasing out of 13, 14, that being how a young boy should be out there playing sports, chasing women and enjoying the outside world. But these kids today, they don't want to know about girls. They don't want to know about keeping fit. They don't even eat their tea half the time. Do you know what I mean? Just so they can stay on this game. I mean, I read a story in China, that World of War, where this fucking couple of fucking Chinamen, it was Chinaman and his missus, let their kid die because they didn't feed it.
Yeah.
Because they were playing that game, they got so hooked on the game, they let their kid die because they didn't feed it, man. I mean,
Yeah,
what sort of people are we talking about here? I mean, I don't care how good the fucking game is. You know what I mean?
I've heard it's not even a good game, but I heard it's shit. Oh.
Well,
it's very
when it's doing that to you, you've got it's a sad affairs, and I see it a lot with a lot of these young lads. They've got no go in them anymore. They've got no go in them anymore, mate. They just want to sit and play the latest games, and because they're up all night playing games, they get up in the morning all fucking groggy, shouting and screaming at their parents, go to school and get in trouble, and it's a bad sign. I would ban kids from playing on the fucking PlayStation till weekends. I wouldn't let them do it in the week when they've got school.
Well, when I was growing up, it was, you played video games, but only a certain amount of time, and then it was like, go do your homework or go play outside or something.
Let's be real, when we were young, the video games were that shit. You'd play them for half an hour and then just turn it off because it's crap. These
depends
games
on the
are
game.
fucking awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, it depends on the game, right? Like if you were playing some good game, yeah.
But even then,
they're so realistic, these games these days. I mean, you feel like you're actually. I mean, when I got so stuck into that FIFA when I was playing a season, I started mixing up my FIFA world to the reality. I'd be talking about football, and I talked about results, and my mates go, "What are you on about? That weren't the result." I thought, "Oh no, that's the score that I played in FIFA."
the fuck?
I started thinking this FIFA reality. You start to think this is fucking reality when you play the game too much. It's all like a brainwashing thing. You can see why the government are forcing these.
Think about that. That's just solo player though. Like were you playing online or were you just doing like a career mode?
No, just career mode. Just career mode. Yeah.
That's just career mode. Imagine what it's like when you're playing a game where you're talking. Let's say, like I was talking about World of Warcraft. Raids encompass like 20 people, right? So you're communicating and talking to them, interacting as a team, yeah? And then afterwards, you're going off questing and you're talking. Even at the most boring parts of the game, you're interacting with people.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. And
you know what
online, because you get in a group, and because you don't want to come off the group because you might not get back on the game again for a little while, you're staying on. So you want to go get something to eat, but you're holding on and you keep playing. Before you know it, you're not fucking eating. There's been stories of people that have actually found their kids playing the game, soaked in piss, where they didn't even want to get up and go to the toilet to have a piss, so they've just pissed themselves so they could carry on playing.
Oh, come on. I mean, you do that when you have to. Like if you're watching a good fight and you can't go to the bathroom, and so you do what you got to do. But for a video game,
you don't, man. I don't care. I'm missing the knockout. I'm not pissing in my pants.
Well, if you buy diapers, so listen. Here's the thing. Here's my solution. This is what I tell my kid. I say, listen, no video games. The most fun he has is when he plays with his dreidel. Anything else, it's learn your Hebrew. And then you get a nice job as a doctor, and you marry a nice Jewish wife, and boom, you're set. Fuck the video games. Now, the other thing about video games is this. The theory is that it's not necessarily the game that's all fun and nice. It's for example, these RPG games, they say that it's the dopamine shots that you get every time you unlock a new feature or you buy something. So you're always shopping around in these games. You get the new sword, you get the new wizard's wand or whatever. And so that creates, it's almost like when you're gambling. When you gamble and you win, you get the dopamine rush and you want more. And that's what this is doing. Video games are hijacking your dopamine response and just jacking it. And so
you got a good point there, because that's why when you buy a game, most of it is built around online features now. You just get a basic package when you buy the game. You have to buy all these new things, new outfits for your character and so on, and new weapons, and that's what they do. So when you look at the Star Wars game, I mean, I bought the Star Wars game. The actual storyline, 36 minutes of gameplay.
What?
You're paying 45 quid. You're paying £45 for a game that on a storyline, 36 minutes of gameplay. They've not even bothered with that because they know they make so much money from the online, and it's all about online, and that's what I'm not really bothered about online. I'm too old to be playing online with fucking 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 10-year-olds screaming the N-word.
Yeah.
Listen, if you wanna deal with racists, you can do that on YouTube. You don't have to be fucking playing with them as well. People in the chat room saying, well, what are people? Pete Stammes says these fruits are having a full conversations with each other. I think he's talking about the video game addicts. Nino Gadget says horror story. Every time I hear Floyd speak, oh come on, why do you have to diss him like that? Punisher says kids who play too many games develop autism. It wouldn't surprise me, man, because I mean, if you're not having any social interactions, and then you go to a party, you don't know how to interact with anybody, because you like look at Stu. He was playing FIFA, and then all of a sudden he was talking about results that nobody knew what the fuck he was talking about. So imagine a kid who does nothing but play video games and who hasn't,
especially the violent games, bro.
Right.
You can see why these kids are getting violent, because honestly, I don't care what you say, it becomes a reality. When you play something so much, it becomes reality. When you play Grand Theft Auto, you start thinking this world you're in. I'm not saying me personally, but these kids start thinking this world that they're in is real, because everything they can go and play this, they can go and fucking steal cars, they can go and do a car up, they can do. It becomes a real world to them, and reality sort of slips away from them, and they become in this zone and brainwashed in a game sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely what happens, man. Again, it's a dopamine rush. It's the disassociation from reality, the expectations that real life isn't as fun for them as the video game, which is stupid because, I mean, listen, you guys have been around the block. You know that there's not real life is much better than the video game. The video game is nothing but an illusion. And so these kids, they just need to, they actually have centers in North Korea, not North Korea, South Korea, because there's a big addiction to video games over there. They actually have rehab centers for people who are addicted to video games. And little by little, they weigh them off the video games because it is an addiction. It's a dopamine addiction.
I mean, there's someone in the chat saying I'm making a big deal out of it, and it's only a small cases, but it's a lot bigger than what you think. Especially when you go to Asia, them guys, man, they're fucking obsessed with these games. So
why?
It's a lot bigger than what you really think. Trust me.
But why are Asians so obsessed with like phones, cell phones and video games? It can't be cultural. It can't be genetic.
It's the cultural thing. I think it's that communist robot background from. I mean, let's be real. They're robots, aren't they?
I mean, I don't even think it's fully cultural because, like, I'm relatively young, so I'm in this age bracket. I'm only 25, right? Okay. So I'm in this age bracket. Half of my friends are playing video games, man. Like, you'll ask them if they want to go out or whatever. They're like, nah, I'm playing this game or whatever. And you know that they're playing with two of your other mates, yeah? Mm-hmm. And half my friend pool has completely disintegrated because of it. It's not like it's a small thing. Most of these guys, like, I haven't seen half of my friends in like 6 or 7 months because they're busy playing games with each other.
Well, now, that's the thing that you touched on something. It's because we want to make it clear here. We're not saying we're against playing video games. What we're saying is when it like anything else, when it becomes an extreme and when it becomes an addiction and a compulsion, then obviously that's the problem. I mean, I knew this girl, her boyfriend worked as a mechanic, and she told me he would show up on Friday after work. He would start playing until 6 a.m. Saturday, sleep the whole day, wake up in the evening, and restart all over again. The whole weekend just playing this whole fucking RPG games. So that's when it becomes a problem. And like McGregor was saying here, it's... Fighter Archer just subscribed. Okay, what the fuck? Alright, we got 2 alert subs for some reason. But yeah, like he was saying is, when you have, I think we all have one of these friends that they won't just stop playing video games. And you never hear from them again. Or, well, you hear from them after a while, they went to rehab or something. Somebody in the chat room, who was it? I think it was Steven Schneider said, we pre-internet kids are still all right. I grew up without the internet for a good chunk of my life, so I can remember a time. How about you? Like, okay, McGregor, you're 24, you said.
Yeah.
When did you start?
25.
Well, 25. So when All right, so 25. So let's go to take away 20 years. So you were 5 years old. There was already the internet. Did you already have the internet when you were 5?
I had dial-up when I was 5.
All right, so yeah. So you did. How about you, Stu? When did you? I mean, you. Oh, I don't think you grew up with the internet, right?
Nah, fucking hell. When I was at school, we had the calculator. That was it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you grew up in the countryside too, so.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, let's be real. I'm glad I didn't live through that through the generation of technology. I'm glad that I was in the basically my best years were in the 80s and 90s as a youngster. And like I said, we didn't have the internet, so we didn't have mobile phones either. If we wanted to go and see our friends, we got on our bikes and we biked to their house and knocked on their fucking door.
Right.
We didn't, you know what I mean? That's how we kept fit. I mean, like I said, I was a fit guy. I played football all the time. I used to play for Nottingham Forest as a young guy. I was there for about 3 years. So I was a good footballer. I was a fit guy, and I was always out and about. And I didn't want to stay in. And we had 3 channels. We had 3 TV stations back then. 3, you know, to watch TV on. Then it become 4 and 5. But at the time, you know, when I was young, they had 3 channels. So there's nothing ever on the telly. So you went out and you could just go out and get like 22 people to play a football game on a field. I mean, these kids can't do that now. They can go and find 22 kids, go and knock on a few doors and get 22 kids together to play a football game, because no one's going to, them boys ain't coming off their PlayStations. And that's just ridiculous.
I completely agree. And I can show you my example. So when I was 14, we moved to France. Before that, it was the last couple of years in Serbia. That was the best time of my life, of my childhood, because all the time I was outside with my friends playing football, or in America are saying soccer. Either that or hanging out with my friends, and it was really great. And the moment I came here, plus keep in mind I'm an introvert, so here in France I had to learn the new language that I never speak before. At the age of 14, I was all the time inside of my house fighting with my brother. It was so messed up, so depressing, and I didn't have nothing else to do except to go to school and then come back home. And at the time I didn't make friends because I was very introvert, so I was staying home all the time. It was so depressing for a couple of years. It's like I thought I started. How do I say it? I started seeing myself as some kind of lunatic, retard. Retard is going better.
Yeah, okay. So you prefer to use the word retard in this situation rather than lunatic, and you think that's was it because of the language barrier?
Well, for a couple of things, but yeah, I felt like mentally damaged because of that for a couple of years. Not going out at all, not knowing the kids, not speaking the language. So. And plus, on top of that, as I said, I'm an introvert.
I see.
And so it was really bad. I was fighting with my brother all the time. 1 year after we came to France, our parents finally bought us PS2, PlayStation 2s that just got out. And my brother and me were fighting every day about who's going to play the video games. But I just played the games for a couple of years and then meet some friends, etc. But my brother, he's still a great, a huge video game head. But yeah, what I wanted to say is that we were fighting all the time, and me personally, I was so depressed. The only thing I was doing was either fighting with him, playing the video games, or jerking off for hours. And yeah, that that shit is at least as bad as video games, because I remember when I was younger, I used to do it for hours, man. And after that, I wasn't like feeling like even going out. It really drains your energy. So,
Well, it's
yeah.
that Billy Joel song, Captain Jack. You know, it's about the guy who's shooting heroin all the time. And there's that line in the song where he goes, and you just stay home and masturbate. And that's the song from the 70s, if I remember correctly. Now we're talking about adding pornography, online pornography to the equation, where you can essentially watch whatever you want. And let me tell you something. This pornography, it is a problem. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I used to work in the industry back in the 90s. I think I've talked about that. But now what it's become, I think, listen, call me crazy, guys, but I think there's a reason why it's free. Because essentially it is free. You know, they talk about how, oh, you got to pay for it, but they make it available. All these fucking websites. Do you think they do that on purpose? Or, I mean, am I looking too much into this?
There's like 8 million videos on Pornhub, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, the days of paying for porn are well over, aren't they? Let's be real.
Well, yeah, I completely agree with you. Like in the Roman days, the days of the Roman Empire, they were saying, give the people the bread and the games, and they'll be calm. You'll keep them calm. So that's kind of it. People are not motivated, and I had to fight with a couple. With not just that addiction, but a couple of more addictions. So I know how hard it is to break it, and the more time you pass doing all that shit, you went down the spiral, and it's even more difficult to get out of it than in the beginning. So yeah, it's fucked up, and young people should learn to appreciate the life and not waste their time away.
Yeah. I mean, with the porn thing, like when I was young, you got a porn video, but it was on VHS, weren't it? And you couldn't put any. You had to take the tag off, and you'd have it in your collection. But you'd come back one day and fucking put it on, and your mum's taped over it with The Price Is Right or something. Do you know what I mean? You remember them ones where you'd look at porn over it, and then your mum's taped over it with some fucking soap or The Price Is Right.
I mean, that was the worst.
The good old days. The good old days where you had to have a VHS porn, but these days you just click on a button. And most of the clips, I mean, let's be real. Who's going to watch an hour and a half movie porn?
Exactly.
No one. No one.
I mean, the whole fucking.
I don't know, man. I like some of the plot lines. I like some of the plot lines.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, come on.
I'm actually being genuinely serious.
Oscar-winning storylines here. We're talking.
No, I have a really weird sense of humor, and I love laughing at the acting in some of them.
Yeah, that's true. I get, if you're coming from that point of view, that's true. It is some of these acting skills these guys show. I mean, it's
mattress actresses.
But they're definitely not there for their acting skills, are they? Let's be real.
No, they're not. Now, the thing about pornography is, this is what always irks me, because I remember one time I was watching Howard Stern, and they had Jessie Jane, blonde porn star. She's always giddy and always happy, always giggling. And even Howard Stern said, wow, you don't look like a typical porn star. Like, you don't have the daddy issues. You're not sad or anything. She goes, no, I love being in porn. Then, lo and behold, I'm watching YouTube one day, and I see one of those like TMC videos or something. You see, it's in the morning, and she's laying on the ground outside of a nightclub, like right on the fucking sidewalk, passed out, drunk. Like, we're talking out, as if Deontay Wilder hit her. And I'm thinking, all right, if anybody wanted to, they would just, rip her pants off and have a go right there and then and there. But so what I'm saying is, she likes it. You know, you look at a woman like that, and you think, wow, she's giggling and she seems to enjoy being in porn. But trust me, nobody that's a hardcore and alcoholic is doing it because they're happy. You know what I mean? So
yeah, our LD's going to be doing a video about this. BDA.
Can we stop talking about that motherfucker? He's got his own channel. He can do whatever the fuck he wants over there. Got no time for that shit. Assaulting homeless people. Come on. Nino Gadget says Jesse Jane is fucking fine as hell. BDA is the man. Well, I didn't fuck her. I'm just saying I saw. Nino's making it out as if I fucked her. Like, high five, BDA. I didn't fuck Jesse Jane. Five Scout says watching porn for the story is a nightmare itself. Boxing Style, shout out to Boxing Style, says I love the plumber porn plots. Yeah, those are the best. Porn stars are all on drugs, says German Persian. Shout out to German Persian. Virtuoso says, what was her name? Whose name? The Jessie Jane, the blonde porn star? If so, that's her name. Nino Gadget's BDA Boxing, I saw that shit. She was passed out on the dome. And not only that, guys, I forgot to say, I saw that video where she's passed out on the sidewalk, and then there's another one where her friends, she's not quite passed out, but she's ready to pass out, and her friends are dragging her out of the nightclub. And there's this one guy that's helping them, and then like he helps them get the woman in the car, and then they say thanks, and they drive off, and you can see the guy standing there going, fuck, I thought they were gonna invite me back to their place. And sorry, man, if you helping a drunk chick at a bar and you think you're gonna get some, and her friends are around, first of all, do you never fuck a drunk girl nowadays? Because if you fuck a drunk girl, that's rape. If so don't even fucking try, guys.
The thing is, like, well, yeah, there's always that fucking one, that fat clingy bitch that cock blocks you, isn't there?
Yeah, the mother hen.
She's the one don't worry about this. I've got this one. I have to make sure she gets home. No, you're not. I'll come with their parents. I'll get her home safe.
Yeah, those are the worst, man.
Who the fuck are you? I've heard it at times, man. There's always that fat, bitter, twisted cow that just don't like to see a friend, man. Yeah, that don't like to see a friend getting any action.
I remember Bucho told me that story. Bucho, who's just came back on the channel. I think it was Bucho. He told me a story where he was talking to this girl, and her fat, ugly friend comes over, and she goes, "No, my friend, she has to go. We have to go right now." Was that you, Bucho, who told me that story?
We have to go right now.
Yeah, the mother hen came along.
There's a lot of stories like that, yeah. I don't remember it was we have to go, but it's always like, no, she doesn't want to dance with you. It's like, who are you? Like, what are you doing in my face? Like, all ugly and shit. They're always ugly, man.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, she doesn't want to talk to you. She doesn't want to talk to you. It's like, what the fuck? Haven't even approached yet. Like,
that's why you need a mate with no standards like me, man.
Well, there you go, yeah. Wait.
I've taken a few grenades and even a couple of landmines in the day. So
no kidding. Some real pigs?
Yeah, man. I don't fucking care. I don't discriminate.
Well, there you go. See, that's the attitude we like here at BDA Boxing. Just, you know, if you can't, if you don't have any luck at night, you take what you can. There's no shame in that. That's what I always say. Reminds me when I was in Vietnam. I went to this whorehouse. No, I'm kidding. You know, it's interesting. We started talking about horror movies, and we shifted over to video games and then to pornography. But I guess there is a parallel between pornography and horror movies, because they sort of have the same effect on you. If you watch too many of them, it starts to warp your brain. And I would dare say that pornography is far more dangerous than horror movies.
Well, it's playing with your dopamine receptors, so it's not surprising, like any addiction.
Right. Yeah, it's like the video game thing we're talking about. It's playing with your dopamine receptors, and you get hooked on it. That's why I always. It's interesting. What's that?
What are you talking about now?
Well, we're still on pornography.
We're still on porn. Oh,
yeah. Well, here's the basic advice. If you're gonna jerk off, just fucking jerk off. And once you're done, 5 minutes, you'll forget all about pornography. Trust me. That's the way. That's the great thing about being a man. You wank one out, boom, you're done. Don't fucking stand in front of the computer.
I reckon Douglas was a fucking sex addict, don't they? Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas?
Yeah,
they
do. proper sex addict he was. I mean, but he had Catherine Zeta-Jones to fucking pleasure him. No wonder.
Whoa, I didn't know he was a sex addict.
Yeah, they reckon he was bad. He was like, that's what they reckon. That's one of the reasons she left him.
Huh.
She'd go and bend down to get some out of the fridge. Next minute, Douglas is fucking slipping her a length from behind.
Wasn't Tommy Morrison a sex addict as well?
Well, yeah, he got AIDS.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He fucked loads of women, he did, and gave loads of women AIDS as well.
Is it really a bad...
And his children, too.
Has his children got it as well?
HIV positive, I've heard.
I don't know about that. But it's interesting. Here's a question, and I think I've already asked him before. How would you guys rather live a boring life, like to 75 years old, or live for like 50 years, but you fucked everything that moved?
Yeah, I'd rather do the latter.
Well, there you go. See, Stu has some common sense.
I'll tell you what, listen, I've had...
Sorry, what was the question?
I've had some attractive women, right? I've had some attractive women in all the years of my life. I've had a few attractive women, and I can tell you something now, no matter how nice they are, it gets boring after a while when you're doing the same one.
Yeah. That's a lesson of life. No matter what, be careful what you ask for, because sometimes it doesn't live up to the hype, and you get used to it.
What was the question?
My question was, would you rather live a life, till you're 75, 80 years old, but it's a rather boring life, or go out at 50 years old, but you fucked everything in sight?
Second option, easy.
There you go. See, because is there a better way? Because some people die getting hit by a truck, in a fire, getting shot, and like in the worst situation possible, but being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Wouldn't you rather die knowing, all right, I got a fucking the worst disease, sexual disease there is, transmitted disease there is, but listen, I had fun getting it. You don't have fun getting shot, you don't have fun getting stabbed, you don't have fun falling off a mountain, but you have fun dying of AIDS. Come on. There's a silver lining to everything. And I think people forget to look at that in life. That's my advice. That's just my advice for this show.
BDA promoting AIDS.
What can we talk about now? Because I don't want to talk about this no more. Fuck's sake.
All right, we were talking about
AIDS. We're the only show that can put a Halloween show and turn it into a porn show.
All right, I wanted to bring something up real quick because we do have to go unless King Bucho takes over the show. But I wanted to ask something that Stu, we never quite got to, that you wanted to bring up. Chris Benoit's suicide murder. And that you think, you read the theory that there might have been some foul play involved.
Well, yeah, I do. I think so. There's foul play involved. It's just some of the evidence has come out just don't add up. I mean, how he killed his family and himself for a start. I mean, you have to look into it. I mean, obviously you've hit me on the spot here. I'd have to dig up all my research that I've done and refresh my memory. But yeah, if you look into the Chris Benoit murders, then there's definitely something not right about what happened there.
Yeah,
I know they're trying to use his steroid abuse and his trauma to the head as an excuse for losing it, but I don't know. Anyone that mentions Chris Benoit said he was a loving man that loved his family. So just it don't add up to me. But I think we'll have to do a different show where we can all get the evidence together and look it up. It'd be a good topic.
Right.
There's a few things I want to talk about. Yeah.
Sorry for cutting you off. That guy.
Sorry?
Who's that guy you're...
Chris Benoit, the wrestler that killed his family?
No.
Oh, was it
Canadian? Never heard of that.
He was a wrestler.
He was a WWE wrestler. He was a Canadian wrestler, big star in the game. I mean, one of the highest...
One of the best ever wrestlers, actually.
Yeah, he was. One of the highest earners as well. And one day he went home, killed his wife, got his son, killed him in a chokehold, and then killed himself. But when you look into the story, it doesn't add up. Some of the stuff doesn't add up.
Yeah, because
his ex-wife was married to an ex-wrestler, and apparently he's part of a satanic cult, and this guy had been threatening Chris Benoit for a while, apparently. And you have to look into it. It's a very interesting story. Whether you believe this theory or not, it's another matter, but it's definitely worth looking into.
Right. You know, it's interesting because say what you want about wrestling and the steroids, but maybe it was a 1 in a thousand chance of the guy who takes steroids and loses it. But here's the thing: whenever you read about cases of a guy murdering his own family, he's got to be way fucked up to do that. Probably high at the time, or maybe he's just one of the worst sociopaths or psychopaths you can find. But like Stu said, from what people were saying about Benoit, supposedly he loved his family. So roid rage or no roid rage, and fuck, what was the detail that I read about how something didn't, like Stu said, something didn't add up about the way he killed. I think he killed his wife first, no, his son first, and then anyway, like Stu said, we'd have to look into it, but there's some weird inconsistencies on that one.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, everyone thinks I'm a fucking weirdo in the chat because, like I said, it's quite easy just to believe what CNN tell you. But you know, it's laziness when you sit there and laugh at someone for bringing out a theory without doing any research, because it could come out that my theory is correct, and then what are you going to say? So
exactly,
it's just, you should always keep your mind open, because sometimes things are not what they seem. And I've looked into this for a little while now, and there's not a lot about it. Let's be real, there's not a lot. But what I have found, it's just something not right about it.
I remember there was a case here. This is a real two fucked up cases in Canada. One where a doctor murdered his own baby, and the theory that I've heard from some people is that, by the way, that guy was sentenced to a mental asylum because they said, oh, he's the only way he could have killed his own son was because he was distraught and mentally ill. So they sent him to the insane asylum, and then whoops, all of a sudden he gets better and now he's out. But so I'm not going to get into the details, but some of the way he killed his son.
Doctors.
Yeah.
The morning before he was at the doctor's, the morning before it happened, he went for a doctor's appointment because he had a cold he couldn't shake off. And he was fine talking to the doctor, talking to him just like a normal man, talking about the family and everything. This was not a man that looked like he was going to go, that he was suffering, looked like he was going to go home and kill his family and then kill himself. And they reckon there's signs of a struggle in the house. I mean, these are professional people that have actually come out and said this. So, let's be real. Who would have thought 9/11 would have been a conspiracy? When I first saw that, I thought, yeah, that's the fucking the Muslims. I thought that's the Saudis and the Muslims. Straight away, you believe what you hear. There's no reason not to believe it. But when you start looking into this case, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. It's a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like do you want to see the pipe bombings this week in America and the shooting? Now,
oh yeah.
I'm not saying the shooting's a hoax. People got killed. It's a terrible thing. But it's just, I think that's someone from the left that's done that. So this is how desperate the Democrat Party are, because they're losing it. I've been looking at the polls. I mean, the polls will tell you on the news that the Democrats are going to win. But what I'm seeing, and the numbers are not adding up, I think Republicans are going to keep the House and they're going to win more in the Senate. So I think this is their last desperate attempt to take Trump down. Look what his supporters have done. They've sent us bombs. But these bombs, I mean, it was a clock with a bit of metal beside it. It weren't even a bomb sort of thing. And it just don't add up to me at this time as well. And how is a random guy like us, going to find the addresses of Barack Obama, fucking George Soros, all these people? You can find CNN, fair enough, but all these people, where Obama's house, fucking Clinton's house, who knows where these live? I don't.
Yeah, something doesn't.
You can't just look George Soros up in the fucking phone book.
Yeah, something. It's interesting. The Kavanaugh thing, the whole Senate committee, whatever. I mean, the grand jury thing, and then you got the fucking pipe bombs that are all done shitty job, and then now you got the shooting. It's like, it just seems like they're playing their games, and I don't know. Maybe it could have been a situation where coincidence, 3 nut jobs in a row. I mean, 2 nut jobs in a row with the whole pipe bombs and the shooting. But it just seems like it's interesting in the age of the internet nowadays. People look up things and they throw doubt on every story that is out there. Las Vegas, case in point, the Las Vegas shooting. What the hell happened there? They still haven't told us. Was there a motive? It seems like they can find a motive for everything except for this one
story. The guy massacred a load of people on the square. It's the forgotten story. No one wants to talk about it. They want to talk about what Trump fucking finger bashing some bird 30 years ago.
Exactly. It's like
there's just something not right about that Vegas shooting either.
No, absolutely not.
I hate to be one of these fucking. I'm starting to sound like Alex Jones, but it's just I can't believe these people anymore. CNN have been caught fucking false flagging false stories. They've been setting these acts up on camera, doing it like a movie shoot. They've been caught.
Yeah, I remember that story.
When you see these people being gassed in Syria, they ain't big gas. That's half the time that's a fucking acting scene. They're good actors, I'll tell you that. They've been taught well, but that ain't been gassed. You're gonna sit there on the camera waving at the camera when you've fucking been gassed. Fuck out.
Well, remember the first Gulf War, where there was the daughter, this nurse or doctor, whatever, a Kuwaiti doctor, and she said that the Iraqi soldiers came in and they took the babies out of the incubators and threw them on the ground and blah blah blah. And it turns out it was a fake story, and the nurse or doctor, whoever she was the daughter. Like, she was somehow related to a guy, high-ranking guy, government or whatever, who would benefit from a war in Iraq. So they've been doing it since time began. The ancient Romans used to do it too, just false flags and shit like that to start wars. So misinformation, man, that's the way it goes. And
sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So let me tell you about CNN in the 90s. The other time you guys asked me what I think about the war that happened in Serbia and all that, and I told you that why a lot of us Serbians hate CNN and the Western media, how they demonized us. So, okay, I told you that in the war in the 90s, there was victims on every side, on all the 3 sides. But there was one very funny segment on CNN. For example, they were showing a funeral of some people that got killed in the war, some civils that got killed, and on the TV they were saying, see the images of the funeral of Muslim civils, while they don't know what they are talking about, because they are showing the funeral of a Serbian guy, because there was a Christian Orthodox signs, etc. So it just shows you how bad they are playing with people's minds. That they are showing you one thing and telling you it means something other.
Oh yeah, that's the way.
I mean, I don't want to go into war too much into those stories, because, as I told you, I don't fucking care about who's of what nationality, etc. As long as people are good to me. But it is just a simple example to show you how fucked up CNN and the other mainstream media are, and how they're always trying to.
They're not news outlets no more. They're propaganda machines. There's a difference.
Yeah.
The thing is, they don't care about viewings anymore because they're being funded by the left. So CNN, do you think they care? Do you know the food channel, the fucking food channel, gets more viewing than CNN?
Yeah.
Food channel, right? It gets more viewers than CNN. That's how bad their viewings are. But they don't care because they're not. It's not journalism anymore. They're not a media outlet. They are a propaganda machine. And that's why they make stories up. They have to. I mean, they blame Trump for everything, don't they? I mean, I didn't hear him saying Bernie Sanders' fault when that guy was shooting up fucking Republicans. Do you know what I mean?
Baseball game.
Didn't mention his name. I don't hear them blaming Obama when people are killing cops, when he sort of like gave the go ahead in a different sort of way. You know, but that scummy piece of shit give the go ahead. You can bet your life he did. And no one says anything to him. But Trump, you know, the man that has done more for Israel than any president in the last fucking 30 years. He's a fucking anti-Jew now, isn't he? And it's his fault that Jews got killed. Oh, it's just a joke, man. Makes me angry, man.
I'll tell you what the official boxing scorecard said about Serbia. That whole thing also was handled very weirdly in a bizarre way. And that was back in the 90s, you know, before we had the internet as it is now. Also, there's been others like Rwanda. You look into Rwanda, it's not the story that I thought it was for years and years and years, or the official story that they gave you. It's not as white and black as they want to make it out to be. So we'll leave it at that. We do have to go. Very good show. Covered a lot of ground. Very happy. Makes me want to do a second Renaissance every day, just so we can talk about these type of subjects. Because again, boxing non-stop kind of gets a little bit dry at some point. I don't know if you guys agree, disagree, but that's the way I see it. Anybody else?
Can I just clarify before we go?
Oh boy!
Before I get some stick off the guys, I am not suggesting that Chris Benoit didn't kill his family and himself. I'm suggesting to look into it and look at the evidence and make your own mind up, because there's something not right. And if I was a juror, I'd be having second thoughts of convicting him. Should we say that?
Paul McCartney is a fake. He died a long time ago, right?
You're just not open-minded. You guys are not open-minded.
I know, I am. I looked into it. I saw a documentary. And we'll talk about it in another show.
That is definitely a subject I want to get onto, the fake Paul McCartney subject. That there is a lot of evidence on that.
There's also the theory that Freddie Mercury wasn't gay. We'll look into that one as well.
Well, he wasn't. He was bisexual.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There's no such thing as being bisexual. You're either gay or you're straight. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. I've said it to the guys I'm fucking all the time. Like, there's no such thing as bisexual. Come on. You gotta
fucking... I realise that Freddie Mercury was actually an Indian guy, you know.
What? All right.
Yeah, he's Indian. Freddie Mercury's name is Freddie Bulsara. He's an Indian.
No kidding. I didn't know that. Because, see, I've never been that...
That's why, they reckon that's why he's gay, because he went to one of these posh private schools in Delhi, in India, and apparently they're rife with homosexuality, the boys' schools over there. And that's what got him a bit to the other side, shall we say. So, yeah, he's an Indian. No, not many people know that, do they? Think he's an English white guy.
I didn't know. I didn't even know. See, again, I'm not a big Queen fan, so I never really cared to research that, but I didn't know that. And so, note to self, do not send your son to a fucking Indian school. Anyway, guys, thanks for having joined us. Thanks for joining us, rather. You guys made this show quite a show. Very interesting topics. Learned some new stuff. Hopefully it was entertaining to everybody out there in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. I want to thank Official Boxing Scorecard. I want to thank Stu, McGregor Boxing. Cameron was here for 2 seconds. Recognized the Matrix as well. And Apology couldn't get on because he was at university. And by the way, wait, hold on a second. Where the fuck was Apology, man? Because there's a 5-hour difference from here in North America to the UK. Don't tell me the universities are crowded at 12 in the morning.
He's what you call it, isn't he? He's behind the bike sheds, fucking got his skirt, isn't he?
Yeah. Imagine you're a girl and you're walking around
big
campus at night.
Big towels out the window, innit? Big towels out the window, mate.
Exactly. Imagine you're a girl at the university walking through campus at night, and all of a sudden you just hear like Apology Man's voice, you know, his gruff breathing, and like, fuck me, man, that would be scary as hell. That's all right. Freddie and BDA dated once, says Boxing Style. Makes no sense. The timeline's all fucked up, Boxing Style, and you know it. Violence News Network says apology is banging
Is that why
people.
Freddie Mercury had a Mexican moustache?
Come on, don't do that to me. The Fights guy says BDA was Freddie's win. What the hell's a win? Is that a wingman? Oh, come on. Didn't he die in 1990? I wasn't even in the industry back then. All right, listen, guys, thanks for having joined us. Official boxing scorecards, Stu, McGregor Boxing, Cameron, Apology Man, Recognize the Matrix, of course, my co-host, King Bucho. And now let's just say thanks for having joined us, guys. Always appreciate your input. Now we're just going to say au revoir to the people in the chat room. Shout out to British True Box Fan, the Shepherd of Sons, Azzy, Pete Stammes, Virtuoso, Shepherd of Sons, Nino Gaggi, Jay Perez, Steven Schneider, Boxing Killers TV, Mel Gibson. Get back to directing movies, Mel. We want another one. We want Passion of the Christ too. Amok PvP, Mateus Lies, and many more people. Can't name them all. Actually, I'm gonna try to. Why the fuck not? Boxing Style was in the chat room as well. Precise was in the chat room as well. AA Boxing Blunts, Boxing and Blunts, the Quags, Saint Brit, Violence News Network, Poe Johnson. Who else am I missing? That's about it, guys. Punisher, the Punisher. Can't forget.
Can I just say to Azzy in the chat, see, when I'm not talking boxing, see how positive and see how much fun I have. It's only when I talk boxing that I just get a demon inside me and I get angry and emotional because it just drains me. I'm sick of the shit in boxing.
There you go.
So I'm not so negative after all. It's just that fucking boxing.
Well, listen, we're gonna be back to talking boxing pretty soon. Maybe Butch is gonna do a show on Saturday or pre-Saturday. I don't know. We'll have to see. For the moment, guys, thank you for having joined us. Everybody, Hangout panelists, chat room people, or audience, you guys are the best. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to BDA Live. And we'll see you in the next one, folks. Take care.